In those long nights when your mind keeps circling around worries, unfinished conversations, and emotions too vague to name, you may find yourself wondering why things that once felt simple now feel unbearably heavy. The modern world demands that we stay connected more than ever. Yet it is precisely this constant connectedness that exhausts the soul, leaving it fragile, overstimulated, and struggling to remain clear within. Tonight, I invite you into another kind of journey. A space where the breath slows down, where the darker corners of human psychology rise gently like morning mist, and where you can listen to yourself more deeply. A journey through 100 dark social hacks, not to manipulate, but to understand the invisible mechanisms shaping our emotions, our choices, and our relationships. As Carl Jung once wrote, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." And in this moment of quiet, as external sounds dissolve softly into the night, allow me to guide you through the tangled layers of thought, toward the tenderness, the clarity, and the peace you may have misplaced somewhere along the hurried path of living. Close your eyes, and we begin. In those long nights when your mind keeps circling around unanswered worries, unfinished conversations with yourself, and those vague emotions you cannot quite name, you may begin to realize that modern people are not only exhausted by pressure, but by the world's relentless pace, a pace that leaves the inner self struggling to keep up. And within that quiet chaos, ask for small commitments appears not as a simple communication technique, but as a gentle reminder that every change, every opening of the heart, and every act of healing begins with a very small step. A commitment as light as the first breath of morning. The human mind, no matter how complex, moves according to delicate rhythms. When you ask someone for something small, a minute of listening, a brief thought, a simple action, you are touching not the surface of behavior, but the layer of self-perception. Humans have an innate desire to stay consistent with what they have already chosen. When they agree to something small, they subtly adjust the way they see themselves, and that inner adjustment is what makes larger steps feel natural. But at a deeper level, small requests are not just a doorway into someone else's mind. They are a doorway back into our own. In a world that demands we be good immediately, mature immediately, calm immediately, sometimes what we need most is simply the permission to do one small thing. Read one page instead of a chapter. Meditate for 1 minute instead of 20. Write one sentence instead of an essay. Take one breath instead of trying to change everything. Carl Jung once said, "You are what you do, not what you say you'll do." And in those small actions, a new identity begins to take shape, the way a single drop can begin an entire river. You may be sitting now in the quiet of your room, warm light resting gently on the fatigue of the day, and in that moment, you do not need a grand transformation to become better. You only need one small step toward peace. When you give yourself a bit of space, you're already making a small commitment, just enough to awaken the healing process. In communication, small requests are like a soft knock on the door. No pushing, no demanding. Just a whisper, "I am here, and I respect your space." From that, trust begins to root itself, like the first light slipping through the cracks of dawn. Nietzsche once wrote in "Thus spoke Zarathustra," "All truly great thoughts are conceived while walking. The most meaningful ideas in life arise from gentle steps. And in every small request, we create that same rhythm, slow, steady, quietly directed. When someone agrees with you, they are not merely agreeing to an action. They are agreeing with a more expanded version of themselves, a version that their mind softly reassures. "I am safe to try this." And from that safety, every door begins to open. Do you remember the last time you changed something in your life? It likely did not begin with a grand event, but with a moment so small you hardly noticed it. A passing thought, a gentle action, a tiny permission. Let me try. From that moment, you traveled farther than you realized, and perhaps, right now, as you listen to these words, you're already making a small commitment, opening your mind a little more, breathing a little deeper, being a little kinder to yourself. That is the quiet power of small things. They enter your life not with noise, but with stillness. They do not change you instantly, but they shift the direction of the entire journey. And sometimes, a slight shift in direction is enough to change a whole life. In the softness of the night, as your heartbeat slows and your breath deepens, allow this smallness to guide you into another landscape of the mind, a deeper one, a quieter one, a truer one. Because after understanding the quiet beginnings of small steps, we move into another layer of awareness where not only the words, but the spaces between them begin to speak. And that will be the journey of part 2. Listen for what's not said. Together, we will listen not only to what echoes in the world, but to the things that can only be heard when the inner self has grown still. Let your breath lead you onward. When we close part 1, where small commitments gently open the first cracks of connection, something soft begins to unfold inside you. The mind loosens, the inner tension dissolves, and a quieter rhythm takes its place, like stepping into a dimmer room where the light calms and everything within moves a little slower. You begin to realize that to understand a person, to truly touch the truth of who they are, you do not always need firm statements or long explanations. What you need is the sensitivity to hear what has no sound. And from that shift, part 2 quietly reveals itself like the night's barely audible breath. Listen for what's not said. In this deepening stillness, you understand that a philosophical journey through the night cannot be walked by words alone, but must also be walked by the spaces between them. There is something intuitive in human psychology that everyone knows yet rarely names. People never say everything they think. Every conversation is a thin veil covering thousands of movements beneath the surface, where we speak only a safe and simple fraction, while the rest drifts silently like underground rivers. Often, the deepest truth is not in what someone says, but in what they choose not to say. Sigmund Freud once wrote, "No mortal can keep a secret. If his lips are silent, he chatters with his fingertips, reminding us that silence never deletes anything. It simply redirects the message to other channels. An averted glance, a too quick I'm fine, a breath held tight, a pause a second too long, a smile with tired eyes. These signals are never accidents, and the one who listens to what is not said will see the entire world beneath the quiet surface of a story. Most of us focus only on words because they are easy to hear and respond to. But if you listen more deeply, you will realize that language is only the surface, and the true currents of emotion, connection, and understanding live in the silence between sentences. You felt this before. Someone says I'm okay, yet your heart knows they aren't. Not because their words were untrue, but because what they didn't say was louder, expressed through softened tones, tightened fingers, drifting eyes. Here, we do not analyze people like solving logic puzzles. We observe with presence, compassion, and softness, practicing what philosophy calls listening with the self, a listening done with one's entire being. Imagine sitting in a dark room with nothing but your breath, beside an old friend tired from the day. They share small, casual stories, but beneath them you feel loneliness, a hidden worry, something unspoken yet real, and suddenly you understand that the most important thing you can do is simply be there, not rushing, not pulling words out, just waiting for the truth to rise naturally. In such moments, silence becomes a gift. Søren Kierkegaard once said in Either Or, "The most common form of despair is not being who you are, and the deepest despair in silence is when someone cannot speak their truth." To listen for what's not said is to create a space where someone feels they can return to themselves even before they find the words. The human soul is like a river. The spoken words are the surface, the unspoken ones the undercurrent, stronger, truer, harder to hold. Look only at the surface, and the river seems still. Touch it, and you feel the hidden movement. Communication is the same. The listener places their hand into the current, not to judge or decode, but simply to feel. And then something quiet and beautiful unfolds. When you truly listen, others open themselves not because you asked, but because you were present. Presence is the most subtle form of communication humanity has ever known. The truth many forget is that listening to the unspoken is not a skill, but a state of mind quiet enough to notice what is delicate. Many speak well, but only those who know how to be silent in the right way truly understand. The people who make you feel safe are often those who listen with their eyes, with their breath, with a softness that radiates from them. They do not interrupt, rush, or fix, but they create space for you to heal yourself. They do not say, "I understand," yet their gaze says it all. Listening for what's not said is not only the path to understanding others, but also yourself, because the truths you cannot name are also whispering for your attention. You may find yourself wondering, what am I afraid to admit? What emotion am I avoiding? What dream have I not allowed myself to say aloud? In the deep quiet of night, these questions glow like small lanterns, and you can only hear the answers when you become still. Carl Jung wrote in The Undiscovered Self, "Who looks outside, dreams. Who looks inside, awakes. And to look inward, you must create enough silence to hear the faintest voice within." This listening becomes a threefold journey. You listen to others, you listen to the world, and eventually you listen to yourself. As you gently feel each pause, you realize that silence is not the absence of sound, but the presence of truth. And now, as your breath deepens, your body softens into the warmth of night, and your heartbeat settles into its quiet rhythm, the boundary between part 1 and part 2 dissolves. From the small beginnings of gentle commitments, you have stepped into a realm of subtle perception, the realm of the unspoken. Now that your awareness is softened and your mind clearer, you are ready to enter part 3, where we explore an art that appears simple, yet is among the hardest in communication. Don't oversell. Speak lightly, gently, and let subtlety finish what words cannot. Let your breath guide you forward, and we will meet again in the next part. As we step out of part 2, where silence became a doorway to the truths hidden beneath language, your mind seems to have settled one layer deeper, as though you have learned to listen not only with your ears, but with your eyes, your intuition, and your presence. And in that softened state of awareness, another principle of deep communication quietly emerges, as gentle as a breath in the dark. Don't oversell. Don't try too hard to convince. Don't speak too much. Don't hold too tightly. Let space, restraint, and naturalness do their part. If part 1 taught us about small steps and part 2 taught us about the power of silence, then part 3 is the merging of the two, speaking less, but speaking at the right moment. Lighter, but deeper. Enough for others to feel, but never so much that they raise their guard. In the modern world, where everyone is trying to prove they are right, competent, worthy, the art of not saying too much has become rare. We live in an age where everyone wants to be heard, but very few know when to stop. Overselling becomes an invisible barrier, distorting the signals we send and clouding the trust we're trying to build, like mist over a mirror. Nietzsche wrote in Beyond Good and Evil, "Silence is worse. All truths that are kept silent become poisonous." Yet he also understood, without needing to say it plainly, that silence in the right measure preserves the depth of truth, for not every truth needs to be repeated endlessly, and not every value needs loud proof. The one who speaks with restraint is not weak. They are strong in a softer way, like a mountain that doesn't need to declare its solidity, like a lake that doesn't need to show its clarity. Their presence alone is enough to be felt. Often, when we explain too much or try too hard to convince, it is a sign of insecurity, either in ourselves or in the other person. Overselling does not make us appear credible. It reveals our fear beneath the words. By contrast, someone who speaks just enough at the right time and with the right weight naturally inspires trust. No force, no manipulation, no pressure. They place a small stone on the water and let the ripples form on their own. Carl Jung once wrote in Modern Man in Search of a Soul, "The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed." In the meeting of two inner worlds, overspeaking often blocks the reaction. Too much catalyst disrupts the transformation. Restraint creates the space necessary for genuine connection, for understanding arises not from how much we speak, but from how deeply the other person feels. Imagine a gentle nighttime conversation. You want to make a good impression, to show sincerity, competence, worthiness, but the more you try, the less natural you become. Each sentence grows heavier, each explanation more strained, and you feel yourself drifting away from the truth under the weight of your own effort. The art of not overselling is the art of letting go of the need to become someone. You don't need to prove your intelligence, list your achievements, or explain every detail. People do not love us because we are perfect. They love us because we are real, and the real self is often the quietest one. In Eastern philosophy, restraint is seen as a mark of wisdom. Lao Tzu wrote in the Tao Te Ching, "He who knows does not speak. He who speaks does not know." It is not a call for absolute silence, but an understanding of timing, knowing when speech serves truth and when it dilutes it. When you speak less, you create space for the other person to enter the conversation, and that space is the foundation of trust. Overselling triggers the brain's defensive mechanisms. When someone tries too hard to persuade, the listener stops receiving and starts questioning. Why are they trying so hard? What are they hiding? Is any of this even real? But when your words come slowly, gently, and in just the right amount, the listener's brain doesn't defend. It opens, feels, and believes. Restraint becomes a signal of safety, like a low, calm, steady voice that earns trust without demanding it. Think back to someone you trusted instantly. Did they speak a lot? Or did they speak only a few sentences? Sentences as solid as stone, as soft as water, as honest as breath. Sometimes a single, well-timed sentence is stronger than 10 that follow. Dostoevsky wrote in Notes from Underground, "The spoken word is a great thing, but the unspoken word is even greater. Those who speak less but speak deeper draw others toward them. They offer the feeling of being understood without being invaded." And as you listen to these words in the quiet of night, you may begin to realize that the art of not overselling is the art of living slowly, slow enough to feel, slow enough to understand, slow enough not to lose your truth in the noise of the world. In a time where everyone wants to impress quickly, the one who dares to speak less becomes the rare presence, someone who knows that true value needs no advertisement, true kindness needs no display, true intelligence needs no performance, and a true heart does not have to speak loudly to be seen. To speak less is to feel more. To speak less is to let others feel you more clearly. To speak less is to avoid losing yourself in society's expectations. And now, as the night grows quieter than when you first began listening, the flow between our chapters becomes seamless. From the small beginnings of Part 1 to the silent perception of Part 2, and now to the gentle restraint of Part 3. The art of speaking less so truth can speak more. This is the journey of subtlety, of a mind softening in the dark, of a heart learning to feel the world in lighter, deeper frequencies. And from this foundation, you are ready to step into Part 4, where we explore the power of a sincere, unforced smile. Smile genuinely. Let your breath slow just a little before we open the next chapter together. As we step out of Part 3, where the art of not overselling taught us that understanding often deepens when words grow lighter, something very natural begins to happen. Your mind softens. Like soil absorbing water after a gentle rain, your heart begins to absorb the subtle wisdom of restraint. The relief of not needing to prove anything, not needing to perform, not needing to push. And in that moment, in the simplicity of fewer words, the stillness of the mind and the openness of emotion, something seemingly small emerges with extraordinary connecting power. A genuine smile. And so, from the quiet ease of Part 3, we drift seamlessly into Part 4 like a soft current without edges, smooth and unforced. For once you've learned to speak less, you must also learn when to smile, not to persuade, not to mask, but to radiate safety and reach the heart of the person before you. A true smile is so simple that we often forget how profoundly it has shaped the inner landscapes of our lives. It is a language older than words. Before humans knew how to form sentences or articulate emotion, smiles existed as instinctive signals of safety and trust. In the expression of the emotions in man and animals, Charles Darwin noted that a genuine smile is one of the least falsifiable expressions because the neural pathways that control it belong to the ancient instinctive parts of the brain. And because of this, others can always sense when you are truly smiling and when you are smiling only out of politeness. A genuine smile, even the faintest one, creates a soft resonance between two people, like a small bell ringing somewhere deep inside them. Not loud, not insistent, just a tender frequency that tells the other person, "I'm safe here." If you look closely at the most beautiful moments of human life, you'll notice that a smile always appears. When we find something familiar in a foreign place, when we hear what our hearts have longed to hear, when we stand before someone who makes us feel at ease, or when we touch the best part of ourselves again. A smile, whether it's a subtle lift of the lips or a shimmer behind the eyes, can dissolve invisible distances no words could ever bridge. In communication, a genuine smile holds more power than a flawless argument. It needs no sharpness, no cleverness, no memory, no technique. It only needs sincerity. A false smile, on the other hand, no matter how carefully performed, always carries a tension that others subconsciously detect. The eyes do not soften. The corners do not rise naturally. The face does not move with the emotion inside. Psychology names the difference. Duchenne and non-Duchenne smiles. A genuine smile engages the muscles around the eyes. something very difficult to fake, making it one of the most reliable signs of true positive emotion. It is strange how something so small can bring you closer to someone more effectively than a long conversation. A true smile does not only connect you with others, it connects you with yourself. Have you felt it? That every time you smile with sincerity, your mind softens too, like a warm current flowing through your body. A smile does not just send outward signals, it also sends signals inward, telling your nervous system that everything is okay, that there is no danger, that there is no need to brace yourself anymore. William James once said, "We don't laugh because we're happy because we laugh." Emotion does not always lead action. Sometimes gentle action leads emotion. And a genuine smile is one of those actions, quietly shifting your heart without needing any explanation. During long nights when your body is tired but your mind remains awake, we often forget how easily we used to smile when we were children. Back then, we did not smile to please others, nor to be accepted, nor to be polite. We smiled because the world was beautiful in its innocent, surprising, unfiltered way. Then we grew up. Smiles became strategic, functional, social. But the more we mature, the more we must learn the old lesson again. Smile like a child, sincere, soft, unguarded. A genuine smile in communication is like a small candle in a dark room. It cannot light the whole space, but it is enough to reveal the face before you, enough to make a stranger feel familiar. In the deepest human connections, a genuine smile is often the first door that opens. You cannot make someone trust you with logic, but you can make them feel safe with a smile. Nietzsche wrote a lesser-known line that fits this part perfectly. Invisible threads are the strongest ties. A genuine smile is one of those invisible threads. In the darkness of night gathering around you, as this slow voice guides your heartbeat into a steady rhythm, try to recall the last time you truly smiled at someone. Not out of politeness, but from a place of peace. Do you remember the feeling, as if something inside you whispered, "Here, there is no threat. Here, there is softness." When you offer someone that smile, you gift them a small sky, a sky where they can relax, be themselves, and let their defenses dissolve. And when they see your genuine smile, they begin to return to the simple, honest part of themselves too. In this nighttime philosophical journey you are walking, a genuine smile is a soft resting point. It is not a technique. It is not an objective. It is a gentle movement of the heart, a return to something essential. And now that you've crossed part 3, learning that you don't need many words to be understood, part 4 adds one more layer. Sometimes you don't need words at all. Just a smile. One smile, one breath, one presence. Enough to connect two souls in a moment where the outside world no longer matters. And now, as your breath deepens, your eyes grow heavier, and your heart softens through each unfolding layer, you'll find that the transition between part 4 and part 5 becomes as natural as the way a smile travels from the eyes to the corners of the mouth. For after the genuine smile, we step into a subtler, deeper realm. Mirror tone, subtle ici, the art of attuning yourself to the emotional frequency of another. Let the gentleness of your smile lead you forward, and we will meet again in the next part. As we gently close part 4, where a genuine smile spread like a warm ripple across a quiet night lake, you may feel something tender unfolding within you. The inner world of a human being is always opened by the subtlest signals. From small commitments to silent pauses to sincere smiles, Each is a soft, quiet movement capable of touching the deepest layers of the mind. And from that softness, Part 5 begins to emerge like a natural echo in the dark. Mirror tone subtly. The art of reflecting the tone and emotional energy of another person, a form of communication so delicate it is almost invisible, yet powerful enough to create connection more deeply than words ever could. In the wide realm of social psychology, there is a truth few notice. People feel safest when they sense themselves reflected in another person's voice, rhythm, and presence. Not in forced imitation, not in calculated mimicry, but in natural resonance, like two different instruments harmonizing on the same frequency. When you gently mirror someone's tone, slowing when they slow, softening when they soften, lowering your voice when theirs grows small. What you're doing is not manipulation. You're sending a silent message. I am here with you. I hear you. I understand the emotional world you're standing in. This subtle reflection becomes an invisible bridge between two souls. Nietzsche once wrote in Human, all too human, invisible threads are the strongest ties, and mirror tone is one of those invisible threads. When you attune yourself to someone else, what unfolds is a slow dance between two nervous systems, a delicate synchronizing of breath, pace, tone, and emotional energy. It is not crude imitation. It is not performance. It is resonance. Resonance. Like when a vibrating note causes another object with the same frequency to vibrate too. To understand this deeply, we must acknowledge something simple. Humans connect through the feeling of being understood, and that feeling arises not only from the content of a response, but from the way that response is delivered. Speak too brightly, too quickly, or too strongly to someone who is anxious, and their mind will retreat. But speak to someone who is tired with a lower, slower, steadier voice, and they will feel held, not by your words, but by your presence. Mirror tone subtly is the creation of a space in which the other person's soul can whisper, "Finally, someone understands me." In long, quiet nights, as your mind grows lighter after layers of philosophical reflection, imagine a simple moment. You sit in a dark room with an old friend after a heavy day. You ask, "How was your day?" They answer softly, slowly. If you respond with bright, rapid enthusiasm, your voices will clash like misaligned lines. But if your voice softens and slows to meet theirs, the space between you shifts, becoming safer, closer, more honest. That is mirror tone. Not boastful, not awkward, simply listening with your energy. In psychotherapy, this is called matching, one of the foundations of empathy. Without matching, the heart builds walls. With matching, the heart opens. William James once said, "The greatest discovery of my generation is that human beings can alter their lives by altering their attitudes. And one of the gentlest yet most powerful shifts of attitude is the shift in tone, a small adjustment of voice that can transform the emotional experience of another person." When you mirror tone naturally, something almost magical happens. The conversation stops being two parallel lines and becomes two streams flowing in the same direction. Emotions align, hearts soften, and your presence becomes a thin blanket laid over someone's weary spirit. Not because you speak well, not because you speak correctly, but because you speak at the right frequency. In the quiet of night, as your body absorbs the calmness around you, we can look deeper into the essence of mirror tone. It is not a technique, but a state of heart. When you want to protect yourself, your voice becomes defensive. When you want to impress, your voice becomes performative. But when you want to understand, your voice naturally becomes softer, as though protecting the vulnerability of the one before you. Rainer Maria Rilke wrote in letters to a young poet, "Be patient toward all that is unsolved in your heart, and to someone carrying unresolved weight in their spirit, your slower, gentler tone is the whispered embodiment of that patience." Mirror tone subtly is not about dissolving into someone else. It is about helping them feel less alone within their own vastness. In daily life, you have witnessed how a small shift in tone can rescue a conversation from falling apart. A person in anger softens the moment your voice lowers. A person in tears steadies the moment your voice strengthens with warmth. A person in confusion calms the moment your tone becomes clear and kind. This is the healing power of energy reflection, the healing power of emotional resonance. In this nighttime philosophical path, after passing through the genuine smile of part 4, you've learned to share calm through your eyes and face. And now, in part 5, you learn a deeper layer, sharing calm through your voice, your tempo, your presence, the invisible harmony between two spirits. Let everything flow like water, move like wind. Let your voice become a small boat guiding someone across the waters of their emotions. Let your presence become a soft ground for them to rest upon when they are tired. And now, as your heartbeat quietly aligns with this gentle narration, as the space between you and the night grows warmer and softer, the transition from part 5 to part 6 becomes completely natural. For after you learn to mirror energy, the next step is learning to open space, the art of asking open questions, like a door opening in the dark, like a breath preparing a whisper. Let softness guide you into the next chapter. We will meet again in part 6. As we gently leave part 5, where you learn to mirror tone and emotional energy like a quiet stream blending naturally into the current of another, something delicate begins to reveal itself. You realize that true connection does not come from speaking much or trying hard to impress, but from creating a clear, gentle space where others feel they can simply be themselves. And within that soft space, part 6 appears, like a door opening in the dark, inviting someone into the journey of sharing. Ask open questions, questions without boundaries, without force, without frame. If part 5 was the art of attuning, then part 6 is the art of inviting. A light invitation, like a breath in the night, a quiet unfolding, like a leaf opening beneath dew. There is a truth in psychology that you have always known intuitively, but perhaps never named. People only open their hearts when they feel unjudged, and open questions are the simplest yet most profound way to send that message. An open question is not meant to test, not meant to evaluate, not meant to seek the right answer. It is meant to tell the other person, I want to understand your inner world in the way you choose to reveal it. Think back to recent conversations in your life. When someone asks you, how are you? Or you okay? You often answer with short, safe, surface-level responses. But when someone asks you something softer, wider, more spacious, what's been weighing on your mind lately? What moment from today lingers with you the most? What are you quietly hoping for right now? Do you feel something shift inside you, as though a small door within you opens a little wider? That is the power of an open question. It doesn't dictate what you should talk about. It invites you to choose the truth that matters most. In communication, an open question is an invitation for someone to guide you into their world. When you ask something with no right or wrong answer, no limits on length, no hidden judgment, you're offering them the gift of speaking, not with the mind, but with the heart. Carl Rogers, one of the greatest humanistic psychotherapists, once said, "When someone really hears you without passing judgment on you, without trying to take responsibility for you, that is what change feels like." An open question is often the first step towards someone truly being heard. One fascinating element of listening is this: closed questions end conversations. Open questions expand them. Are you sad? Is a closed question. How did that make you feel? Is an open question. Did you do the right thing? Is closed. What led you to choose that path? Is open. A closed question is like a narrow alley. An open question is like a wide field, and the person you are speaking to receives not only the question, but the space to breathe. In Letters to a Young Poet, Rilke wrote, "Live the questions now, and the open questions you offer others, give them exactly that, the chance to live inside the question, to explore the depths of their own heart." Often, people do not need answers. They need a question spacious enough to find themselves inside it. Imagine sitting in a darkened room, much like now, your breath quieting with the rhythm of the night. Across from you is someone dear, carrying a tiredness so subtle yet so real. You don't know how to comfort them. You don't know what to say. And instead of offering advice, you ask softly, "What do you need most right now?" In that moment, they may fall silent, but it is not the silence of discomfort. It is the silence of a heart returning to its own voice. An open question, when spoken gently, becomes an invitation for someone to rediscover the truest part of themselves. When you ask open questions, something remarkable occurs. They don't just answer you, they answer themselves. Humans often understand themselves not through thought, but through speech. When they speak, they discover feelings they didn't know were waiting. Here, an open question becomes a mirror, not one for you to observe them, but one for them to see themselves. Eastern philosophy holds a principle very close to the spirit of open questions, the principle of non-resistance. Instead of forcing water to flow in your direction, you simply open a path for it. Instead of trying to push a conversation where you want it to go, you open a question and allow it to find its own course. As Lao Tzu wrote, "The soft overcomes the hard." An open question, soft as water, can dissolve obstacles the rigid mind cannot touch. In meaningful conversations, open questions do more than invite sharing. They reveal the shape of the relationship itself. Instead of asking, "Are you angry at me?" you might ask, "What about this made things hardest for you?" Instead of saying, "Are we okay?" you might ask, "What do you need from me so we can be better?" Open questions don't just solve problems, they build bridges. And as the night deepens around you, you may notice that open questions feel like deep breaths in the long day, expanding the chest, expanding the mind, expanding the doorway to understanding. An open question, spoken with the softness you learned in Part 5, can ease sorrow, clarify confusion, or light a small flame in someone's heart. And sometimes, that is all they need. In the dimming quiet around you, you can sense the natural transition from mirroring, the art of resonance, to open questions, the art of invitation. After learning to step into someone's emotional world through energy, you now learn how to open a door for them to guide you deeper into places ordinary words cannot reach. And now, as your breath steadies, your mind softens and your eyes grow heavy, the nighttime journey carries you toward a new resting point. Part 7. Listen more than you talk, where you will discover why listening more than speaking is one of the greatest gifts you can offer any soul. Let your breath lead you forward. We will meet again in the next part. As we gently close part 6, where open questions became a soft doorway, leading the other person back into the quiet chambers of their inner world, a beautiful stillness begins to settle into the space between two human beings. It is a stillness that carries no heaviness, no sense of distance, but the quiet of two hearts standing before a threshold. A threshold where words are no longer the center of communication. And from that natural flow, soft and unforced, we slip into part 7, an ancient art that has been forgotten in our noisy age. Listen more than you talk. In the darkness of night, when the noise of daytime has faded far away, you can feel this truth more clearly than ever. Sometimes, the greatest gift you can give someone is not advice, nor explanations, but the full silence of your listening. Human beings are not born craving words, they are born craving to be heard. And true listening is an art that belongs not to the ears, but to the heart. Rainer Maria Rilke wrote in Letters to a Young Poet, "The quieter you become, the more you are able to hear." Listening is the path to depth, depth in others and depth in yourself. In modern life, we speak so much yet listen so little. We want to prove ourselves, tell our story, explain, argue, show our intelligence or insight. But in the midst of all these impulses, we forget the one simple truth. People open their hearts only when they feel heard. Not responded to, not analyzed, not corrected, but heard, just that. When you listen more than you talk, you send an invisible message. I'm here. I'm not in a rush. You matter. A tired heart, a chaotic mind, a wandering soul. They do not need solutions. They need a place to breathe. Listening is that place. In therapy, this is called holding space, creating a safe corner of the world for someone. When you listen without judging, interrupting, or offering premature answers, you become a soft, steady ground where someone can set down the weight they've been carrying alone. Carl Rogers, father of humanistic psychology, once wrote, "When someone really hears you without trying to take responsibility for you, without trying to change you, it feels damn good. The feeling of being heard is like a gentle rain falling on a cracked mind. No words needed. No display of wisdom. Only presence. Listening more than you talk does not mean passive silence. It is intentional, like a lake becoming still enough to reflect the sky. When your silence is right, the other person does not feel emptiness. They feel supported. You may have experienced this. You shared something intimate, and the person before you did not interrupt. They didn't say, "Yeah, I went through that too." They didn't summarize your story or try to fix it. They simply listened, and somehow that made you want to cry, not because of what they said, but because they didn't say anything. That is when you realized how rare true listening is, rare enough to be healing. In ancient Greek philosophy, there is a quiet image often overlooked. Socrates rarely spoke at length. He asked, then he stayed silent. He listened far more than he taught, and it was in that silence that others found their answers. Listening does not make you smaller. It makes you deeper. When you listen more than you talk, you pull others closer. When you talk more than you listen, you push them away. Why? Because words create distance. Listening creates meeting. People do not connect through information. They connect through the feeling of being understood. And understanding can only appear when you listen more than you speak. Imagine sitting beside someone you love. They're speaking about small hurts from their day. At one point, their voice trembles. They look at their hands. In that moment, you could say, "It's normal, everyone feels that way," but instead, You stay quiet, you slow your breath, you hold the space open, and something magical happens. They continue speaking, but deeper this time, because you gave them a sky wide enough for their real feelings to exist. Khalil Gibran once wrote in The Prophet, "The most important thing in communication is hearing what isn't said." Most of communication lives beneath words. When you listen more than you talk, you hear what lies under the story, the things they cannot name, the things they fear to admit, the truths without language. You become a bridge between the outer world and their inner world. Listening is also how you return to yourself. When you stop speaking so much, you begin to notice your own breath. You hear the fatigue in your body. You hear the whisper of unspoken wishes within you. You hear the quiet call of forgotten things. In the peaceful darkness of night, when you stop speaking for a moment, you can hear your own voice clearer than ever. From Part 5, the resonance of mirroring tone, to Part 6, the gentle invitation of open questions, and now to Part 7, the quiet strength of listening, your journey has become softer, deeper, more human. And you can feel this in your own body, your breath slower, your shoulders looser, your mind wider. Listening is not a skill, it is the state of a soul steady enough to open its doors for another. And in this slow rhythm, as the night settles around your softened mind, you begin to see the outline of Part 8, where you will learn a small but powerful gesture. Nod to show understanding, a slight movement that can create empathy stronger than long explanations. Let yourself drift into that flow. We will meet again in Part 8. As we step out of Part 7, where listening transformed from a skill into a state of being, you can feel a distinct shift in your inner space. When you listen more than you speak, even the subtlest noise inside the mind begins to settle, like the surface of a lake becoming still when the wind finally rests. The emotional movements of the person before you become clearer, deeper, more honest. And from this still foundation, a small yet beautiful gesture emerges. The gentle nod of understanding, not the polite nod of social habit, not the mechanical nod of mere acknowledgement, but a soft nod that feels like a breath, a nod that quietly says, "I'm here, and I understand you." The transition from Part 7 to Part 8 happens so naturally you barely notice you've crossed into a new threshold of communication, a threshold where words matter less than the silent signals of presence. If you pay attention to the most meaningful conversations in your life, the moments that brought you peace were rarely shaped by a profound sentence. They were shaped by a glance, a soft inhale, a gentle touch, or a sincere nod. A true nod, when offered at the right moment, is not an action of the head. It is an action of the heart. It is one of the oldest signs of empathy, a primitive signal humans used long before language existed. In ancient cultures, where words were fewer and silence more sacred, the nod was how people confirmed that they were walking in the same current together. Henry David Thoreau once wrote in Walden, "The language of friendship is not words, but meanings, and the nod is one of those meanings, a wordless way of saying everything." A well-timed nod can dissolve another person's defensiveness, like a door opening gently to let them step through. "I'm not judging you, I'm not rushing you, I understand." In psychology, this gesture is known as a minimal encourager, a tiny signal, almost invisible, that encourages the other person to keep opening. A nod, a soft a warm gaze. These micro-movements create safety, because people do not open their hearts when they hear the right sentence. They open when they feel understood. When you sit with a friend whose spirit has been scraped raw by the day, you'll notice they don't need wise advice, or logic, or fixes. They need one thing, a nod that tells them their emotions are allowed to exist. A nod that silently says, "Keep going, I'm here." And suddenly, their heart loosens, their shoulders lower, their breath steadies, and they begin speaking truths they have never spoken to anyone. In therapy, the nod is indispensable. A distressed client will not continue sharing if they don't feel joined. But one gentle nod can shift the entire room's emotional temperature. Carl Rogers wrote on Becoming a Person, "When I am at my best, I can listen and accept another person exactly as he is. And that acceptance often comes not through words, but through subtle movements of the body, where the nod is the subtlest of all." The nod is strange in its simplicity. It carries the energy of acknowledgement, but not the energy of interference. It says you hear them, you are with them, you understand, but you are not trying to alter their story. That is why it becomes a form of healing. A person may not trust your words, but they trust your body's signals. The body does not know how to lie, and a true nod, born from true presence, reaches the deepest part of another person. Imagine speaking with someone who matters to you. They share something that hurts them. They're trying to stay composed, but their voice wavers at the end of the sentence. If you respond too quickly, they may retreat into themselves. If you offer advice, they may feel unseen. But if you simply nod, gently, slowly, something opens. Because a nod is one of the softest ways to say, "You are allowed to be yourself here." In Eastern philosophy, quiet agreement and gentle acknowledgement are seen as marks of mature wisdom. The Taoist tradition calls this weir, non-interference, the art of moving without force. A well-timed nod carries the spirit of weir, doing nothing excessive, disturbing nothing, imposing nothing, simply accompanying. Lightly, fully, respectfully. Think back to the last time someone nodded at you, not with courtesy, but with genuine resonance. That nod made the world feel a little less tight. It made life feel a little less heavy. It made you feel a little less alone. That wasn't an illusion. That was human presence. And now, in the soft darkness wrapping around you, listening to these words with half awareness and half intuition, you may feel something moving inside you, a warmth rising, a loosening of the heart, a deeper breath. For listening in Part 7 opened your heart, and nodding in Part 8 allows you to step gently through that open doorway. These two parts are not separate. They are two beats of the same breath. Listening is the inhale. Nodding is the exhale. And now, as your breath grows slow and deep, as the veil between wakefulness and sleep becomes thin, our journey leads you toward Part 9. Match their pace, where you will learn how to move with another person's rhythm, the way two rivers merge naturally into one. Let this voice carry you forward. We will meet again in Part 9. As we emerge from Part 8, where a gentle nod became the soft exhale of empathy, you may feel the space around you growing even more tender, as if the last light of day has slipped from the surface of the water, leaving behind a pale, quiet glow that makes the whole river breathe more evenly. From the deep listening of Part 7 to the heartfelt nod of Part 8, we now move naturally into Part 9. The moment where two inner rhythms begin to flow as one. Match their pace. If listening is opening the door and nodding is saying "come in," then matching someone's pace is sitting down beside them, unhurried, unpresuming, simply moving with the rhythm of their being. The rhythm of their words, the rhythm of their breath, the rhythm of their emotions, the rhythm of their vulnerability. And this is the moment when communication is no longer you and me, but quietly becomes us. In interpersonal psychology, there is a concept called synchrony, the phenomenon where two people, almost unconsciously, begin to move, speak, breathe, and even feel on the same rhythmic wavelength. Two frequencies touching, then adjusting until they settle into one shared wave. The wonder is, you don't need to try, you only need to be fully present. When you are truly attentive, truly listening, truly open, your body naturally adjusts, coming closer to the pace of the other person. Synchrony is not imitation. It is not pretending. It is not losing yourself to satisfy someone else. It is your presence softly saying, "You are not alone in this rhythm." In Thus Spoke Zarathustra, Nietzsche wrote, "One must be able to lose oneself in order to find oneself." When you enter the rhythm of another, you do not lose yourself. You simply place your ego aside long enough to feel them. And from that shared rhythm, you rediscover yourself. Softer, deeper, more attuned. Imagine talking with a close friend. If they are, speaking slowly, voice low, eyes tired, but you respond with bright energy and quick enthusiasm, you unintentionally push them away. Not because you mean to, but because your rhythms don't meet. But if you slow your voice just a little, let your breath settle, allow your pauses to stretch naturally, something beautiful happens. Their face softens, their shoulders lower, their story becomes fuller, more honest, because every one of us longs to meet someone who can walk with our pace, whether for 5 minutes or for a lifetime. Human emotion is like water, and to understand a river, you cannot swim against it, you must drift with it for a while. Match their pace is that drift, a drifting not of surrender, but of awareness and connection. In therapy, matching is one of the foundations of healing. Without matching, the heart feels untethered and alone. With matching, it feels wrapped in a warm, safe atmosphere. When a client breathes quickly, the therapist slows their own breath first. Gradually, the client's breath aligns. When the client speaks in fragments, the therapist speaks slower and clearer. When the client is confused, the therapist remains grounded. No pushing, no teaching, no ordering. Just synchrony, so that the other person can return to themselves. Remember, pace is a form of energy, and energy travels farther than words. When you adjust your pace, you adjust the emotional climate around you. Slow down, and they can rest. Lower your voice, and they feel held. Breathe softly, and their breath softens. Stay calm, and their storm quiets. Matching someone's pace is not just a communication skill. It is the art of transmitting peace. Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." And when two people match their pace, their souls share a color, even if only for a moment. The color of understanding, of a quiet, shared sky. You may remember, somewhere in the past, a moment when you felt oddly calm speaking to someone. Not because they had answers, not because they were brilliant or eloquent, but because they moved in the same rhythm as you. You were sad, they slowed down. You were excited, they brightened. You were hesitant, they softened. You were lost, they steadied themselves. No one explained this, no one taught it, but your heart recognized it and never forgot. If you're listening to these words in a dim room, you may even feel the rhythm of this narration gently aligning with the rhythm of your breath. That is the essence of matching pace. Communicating not through content, but through frequency. Not through words, but through rhythm. And when two rhythms meet, the souls meet in a place words cannot reach. From Part 7, Listen More Than You Talk, where you learn to create space, to Part 8, Nod to Show Understanding, where you learn to offer subtle signals of empathy, and now to to Part 9, Match Their Pace, where you step into the flow of another person's world. These are not separate techniques. They are 3 gentle movements of the same harmony, 3 breaths of the same cycle. Listen, understand, join. And from this harmony, another doorway begins to open. Part 10. Ask what would you do? Because once you've entered their rhythm, the next step is to give them back the wisdom hidden within themselves. A simple question, powerful enough to light a lantern inside their mind. If it were you, what would you do? But before we step into that chapter, let your breath slow just a little more. You are approaching a new depth of this journey. As we gently step out of Part 9, where you learn to match the other person's rhythm, like 2 streams merging effortlessly without force, something subtle begins to change within you. You start to realize that when 2 humans truly attune to one another, the conversation stops being an exchange of information and becomes a shared movement. In that movement, there is no leader and no follower. Both step together into a level place where hearts are allowed to soften and the inner wisdom within each person is allowed to rise. It is precisely at this meeting point that Part 10 emerges, like a widening breath. Ask, what would you do? A light question, but one that can awaken an entire landscape of clarity inside someone's mind. If you pay attention, you'll notice that some of the deepest conversations you've ever had began with a simple question, not a question demanding facts, not a question meant to check correctness, but a question that invites someone into the realm of self-discovery. What would you do? A short, ordinary, uncomplicated phrase, yet containing a rare power. It gives back agency. It tells the other person, I trust your inner wisdom. I trust you to know what is right for your life. I trust that the answer already lives within you. This question is, in truth, an offering of trust. Nietzsche wrote in The Will to Power, he who has a why to live can bear almost any how. And the question, what would you do, is often the key that helps someone find their why. The reason they endure, the reason they choose, the reason they rise, the reason they continue. Here lies the quiet magic. When you ask someone this question, you help them shift from being a victim of the situation to being the author of it. Instead of being swallowed by the story, they step back and see it. Instead of feeling trapped, they begin to find pathways. Instead of waiting for advice, they reconnect with their innate wisdom. It is a form of silent healing. No pushing, no commanding, no controlling the path. You simply place a gentle mirror before them, allowing them to see what they have always carried inside. When you ask, what would you do? Something softens. Their heart opens, their shoulders relax. Their voice grows clearer, and their eyes regain a spark of the ancient human instinct. The instinct to navigate life. In ancient Greek philosophy, Socrates never supplied answers. He only asked questions so that the truth could be born from within the other person. This method is called maieutic, the art of midwifing thought. The question, what would you do, is a modern maieutic. Picture a moment. You're sitting with a friend in a dim room, a warm light brushing gently across their tired features. They whisper, I don't know what to do anymore. If you rush to give advice, you should do this, you have to do that. Even if you're right, their mind may not be ready to receive it. But if you simply ask, softly, if you listen to yourself, what would you do? In that moment, a piece of their soul is handed back to them. They stop being carried by the river. They begin to steer the boat. Their answer might be hesitant, partial, vague, but that doesn't matter. What matters is they've taken the first step into their own clarity. Viktor Frankl wrote in Man's Search for Meaning, When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. What would you do? Is this gentle challenge? Not harsh, not demanding, simply inviting. In reality, very few people are asked this question. Most of us grow used to being told what to do, to receiving advice, to hearing phrases like, "you should" and "you must." This slowly dissolves our sense that our life belongs to us. That is why, when someone finally asks, "What would you do?" something brightens inside the mind, like someone finally acknowledging the worth of your lived experience. The question also shifts the field of conversation, from confrontation to collaboration. Instead of positioning yourself as the fixer, you become the companion. Instead of speaking from above, you sit beside them. Instead of directing, you invite. And humans, in their deepest nature, always open more to invitation than to pressure. Imagine someone panicked, breath fast, voice breaking. If you ask, "What should you do now?" it becomes pressure. If you ask, "What do you want to do?" it becomes choice. But if you ask, "What would you do if you truly listened to yourself?" it becomes healing. Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, "Look well into yourself. There is a source of strength which will always spring up if you will always look." What would you do? Is the invitation to look inward, gently, courageously, honestly, spoken with a slow, warm tone, like the one in your ears right now. This question turns a conversation into a shared meditation. You are not leading, you are not teaching, you are not trying to make them feel better. You are simply helping them hear the quiet voice inside themselves, the one that has been waiting patiently to speak. And now, like a soft turning of a page, the journey from part 7 to part 10 forms a complete circle. Listening to understand, nodding to affirm empathy, matching pace to enter the other's emotional world, asking, "What would you do?" to empower their inner wisdom. And as the night grows gentler, your breath falling naturally into rhythm with this voice, another doorway begins to open. Part 11. Use real examples, where we explore how stories, lived moments, and real slices of life can soothe the mind and build genuine emotional bridges. Let your awareness drift lightly into the next chapter. We will meet there. As we gently close part 10, where the question, "What would you do?" opened a doorway for someone to hear their own inner voice again, you may feel something subtle softening inside you. The conversation between two people is no longer just the exchanging of words, but a quiet journey walked together where each question, each breath, each delicate movement becomes a thread weaving two hearts closer. And in that moment, when the listener's heart opens, not from effort, but from trust, we enter part 11 as naturally as an inhale. Use real examples, drawing from lived stories to make everything clearer, truer, and more deeply felt. If part 10 gave the other person permission to look into their inner wisdom, then part 11 acts as the lantern that lights that wisdom, not through theory, but through real experiences, true moments, human truths that have brushed against the boundaries of life itself. In psychology and philosophy, a real example is never merely evidence. It is the heartbeat of an idea, the warmth of a thought, the bridge between what someone hears and what they actually feel. Nietzsche wrote in "Human, all too human." The most powerful conceptions are always rooted in life. Anything disconnected from real life cannot reach the depths of a human mind, while anything born from real experience carries a quiet kind of weight. One that needs no argument or theory, only the simple fact of having existed. Notice how often, when someone tries to explain something that matters, they begin with, "Let me tell you a story," because human beings trust what is real. We don't trust ideas as easily. We trust lived moments. Even the simplest real story travels further into the heart than the most elaborate reasoning. Imagine you're walking with someone down a dim evening street, warm lights glowing, distant noise humming like soft waves. You share your fatigue, your confusion. They don't tell you to be positive or assure you everything will be fine. They tell you about a time they felt the same, a moment they felt lost, unsure, and how they slowly found their way forward. Instantly, your heart quiets. Not because their story mirrors yours, but because it is real. In its authenticity, you feel less alone. This is healing without technique, healing born from genuine humanity. Real examples carry a rare power. They make the abstract understandable, the distant relatable, the theoretical alive. Most importantly, they make the listener feel that what they are learning is grounded in real life, not drifting in imagination. Albert Camus wrote in The Myth of Sisyphus, "To understand the world, one has to turn away from it on occasion. But to understand ourselves, sometimes we must return to life through the real stories we've lived or witnessed." In deep conversations, examples are not used to illustrate. They are used to connect. They say, "I've been hurt here. I've stood where you stand. I don't just understand this with my mind. I understand it with my life." When you share a real story, you lay a small part of your heart before the other person, and when they see that, they feel safe. Real examples dissolve defenses. If someone is closed off or resistant, and you push them with logic, they retreat. But share a true story, especially one of your own vulnerabilities, and you lower your armor, prompting theirs to lower too. A real story says, "I'm human," and they relax into their own humanity. Therapists rarely rely on theory. Instead, they say, "Others have felt this way," or "Someone once faced a similar fear," and they are not inventing. They are offering real human experiences, because nothing breaks the illusion of "I'm the only one" faster. Viktor Frankl's man's search for meaning is powerful not because of philosophical arguments, but because it is woven from lived suffering, lived meaning, lived resilience. Lived truth reaches where abstract truth cannot. And here, in the quiet of your room, a real example is like a small ember glowing in darkness, not bright, not loud, but warm enough to remind you that you are not alone. When you use real examples, you are saying, "I have stepped into darkness before. I have seen light return. I speak not from theory, but from the truth of my own journey," from Part 7, listening, to Part 8, nodding with understanding, to Part 9, synchronizing pace, to Part 10, guiding someone back to their inner wisdom. Part 11 becomes the touch that turns all these into living reality. Your words gain breath. Your intentions gain heart. Connection shifts from theory into lived experience. And now, as your breath slows and everything around you softens, you may sense the next doorway opening. Part 12. Write short emails, a chapter that seems small but carries within it an entire philosophy of clarity, gentleness, and the subtle strength of simplicity. Let yourself drift naturally into it, like a real story drifting through the mind without making a sound. As we gently leave Part 11, where real examples became the living heartbeat of communication, you may feel a soft warmth rising within you. True stories make the world clearer, closer, gentler. They bring meaning down from the clouds and place it into the palm of your hand. And in the clarity that real stories create, something else begins to appear, quietly, naturally, like a breath after stillness. The art of simplicity, of refinement, of saying only what matters. Write short emails, At first glance, it might sound like a practical skill for work. But through the lens of tonight's philosophical journey, writing short emails is not merely a technique. It is a way of living, a subtle philosophy, a reminder that what is deep does not need to be long, and what is essential does not need to be complicated. If part 11 is the light of lived experience, then part 12 is the clear space that allows that light to shine unobstructed. In modern life, emails have become the bridges connecting busy minds. Yet these bridges are often weighed down with too many words, too much circling, too many unnecessary explanations. The reader steps onto a long, winding structure and sometimes loses sight of the very meaning that was meant to be conveyed. And so the important thing becomes buried beneath the weight of excess. There is a famous line attributed to Blaise Pascal. I would have written a shorter letter, but I did not have the time. A simple sentence, yet one of the most profound truths about communication. Writing short is not the result of knowing less. It is the result of understanding more. Only someone who truly understands what they want to say can express it with clarity, precision, and no wasted breath. In Eastern philosophy, simplification is often linked with wisdom. A sharp blade needs no ornament. A clear bowl of water needs no stirring. A strong idea needs no elaborate scaffolding to hold it up. When you write a short, clear email, you are sending 3 messages at once. I respect your time. I respect my own thinking. I speak only what is true. And in doing so, your message becomes luminous, not bright in a blinding way, but bright like the moon. Soft, sufficient, quietly far-reaching. Imagine opening a very long email at the end of a tiring day, line after line stretching out like corridors with no exit. You skim it without absorbing its meaning. Your mind scatters. You feel the weight of effort, not the clarity of connection. The message, buried under its own length, loses its heart. But when you open a short, clear email, a few lines, but complete, you feel something different. Relief, steadiness, ease. That ease is the gift of simplicity. Writing short is not coldness. Writing short is not lack of emotion. Writing short is not a lack of care. Writing short is removing noise so the truth can breathe. Like music, where the silence between notes gives the melody its depth. Like meditation, where the pause between breaths leads you back to yourself. Like love, where sometimes I'm here carries more weight than 1,000 explanations. Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." Writing short, in its quiet way, is writing only what is right and true. Nothing unnecessary, nothing overwhelming, nothing forced. Just what needs to be said. At a deeper level, writing short emails is a kindness toward another person's mind. You do not ask them to dive through paragraphs to find meaning. You give them clarity, and clarity itself is a form of healing. In a world full of noise, clarity is gentleness. Think of it this way. A long email often signals you are trying to prove something. A short email signals you already understand what matters. A long email makes the other work harder. A short email lets the other breathe. A long email hides the center. A short email reveals it. Simplicity does not reduce value. It reveals value. In therapy, practitioners often speak in very short sentences, but each one touches the deepest places of the heart. A client talks for 10 minutes about something painful, and the therapist simply says, "That sounds heavy." Or, "Do you want to share a little more?" A few words, yet the room opens. Email works the same way. The power of simplicity is the power of unclouded truth. In daily life, you will notice that people who write short, clear emails are often people who have clarity within themselves. They understand their own minds. They know what they want. They know what matters and what can be let go. People who understand themselves communicate more simply, and people who communicate simply tend to bring calm to those around them. And now, in the quiet space of this night, as each sentence moves gently through your awareness like warm water flowing over the mind, you can feel the philosophy of simplicity settling into you. Writing short is not about being understood quickly. It is about being understood truthfully. Not about saving time, but saving emotional energy. Not about professionalism, but about humanity. Seen through this lens, writing short is a form of meditation. Releasing what is unnecessary, keeping what is true, and offering a message that glows clearly without needing effort to grasp. In simplicity, there is respect. In respect, there is calm. In calm, there is connection. From part 11, where real stories lit the inner space, we move into part 12, where simplicity becomes the beam that guides the mind gently forward. And as this voice softens further into the rhythm of your breath, another doorway opens. Part 13. Clarify next steps, where we explore how guiding someone with gentle clarity becomes a map for the mind traveling through long nights. Let us walk into that next chapter lightly, like stepping into a breeze, as we gently step out of part 12, where the art of simplicity, writing briefly, writing clearly, became a soft reminder of the quiet power of coherence. You may feel a lightness settling into your mind, like wiping mist from a mirror and suddenly seeing the contours of your own face more clearly, more truly, more luminously. Simplicity does not just clarify the message we send. It clarifies who we are beneath that message. And from that gentle clarity, part 13 emerges as naturally as the next breath. Clarify next steps, the subtle act of naming the very next movement on the path ahead. It may sound like a small gesture in communication, yet beneath it lies a profound philosophy about how human beings navigate life, relationships, work, and the inner landscapes of their own hearts. When we speak with one another, whether in love, in work, or in the small daily exchanges of ordinary life, the thing that unsettles the heart most is rarely the difficulty of a situation. It is the ambiguity. Humans are not frightened by distance or effort or even hardship. They are frightened by not knowing where they stand and not knowing what the next step is. Ambiguity makes the mind wander like someone walking through the night without a single light to guide them. But when someone gently clarifies the next step, even one small step, the mind exhales, as though a flickering flame has just been cupped by a pair of steady hands. In Letters to a Young Poet, Rainer Maria Rilke wrote, "Be patient toward all that is unsolved in your heart. Yet even inside that patience, we need one more thing, clarity. Not clarity of everything, just clarity of the very next move. One step is enough for a lost heart to find its rhythm again. To clarify next steps is to say to another or to yourself, from here, we go this way. Not as a command, not as pressure, but as the quiet coherence of someone who has learned to breathe calmly inside the unknown. Imagine sitting in a still room with someone who has just poured out a heavy worry. Everything feels foggy to them. They don't know where to begin. They speak for hours, but cannot find the thread. And then you ask softly, "So what's the first small thing we can do?" In that moment, their eyes shift. Their breath deepens. Their shoulders release, as though an invisible hand has rested gently on them and whispered, "It's all right. We walk one step at a time, one small step, yet it untangles an entire knot of tension. Clarifying next steps does not just help others, it steadies you as well. On nights when your mind loops endlessly through tangled thoughts, have you ever tried telling yourself, "I only need to know the next step"? Not the whole solution, not the entire future, not the perfect path, just the next step. One step is enough for the mind to find its footing. One step is enough to calm a rising wave of fear. One step is enough for the heart to remember it has not entirely lost its way. In meditation, we are taught to focus on the next breath, not the entire session. In life, clarifying the next step is the same, a return to the present, a release of the weight of all that has not yet arrived, a gentle turning toward what can be done now. Marcus Aurelius once wrote in Meditations, "Do what's in front of you with a steady mind." And what is in front of you is always the next step, not the 10th, not the final, not the perfect future, just the one illuminated square of the path. When you clarify the next step for someone, you help them feel they are no longer walking alone. Instead of ending a conversation with vague phrases like, "We'll see," "maybe," "Let's think about it later," you say something simple and kind. "Let's start with A. Then we'll go from there." The energy shifts. Confusion loosens. A direction appears. You become a point of steadiness, not through authority, but through clarity. In psychology, this is known as closing the loop of uncertainty. Because what drains people is not the problem itself, but the unending inner question. I don't know what to do next. To clarify a next step, for yourself or another, is to close that loop and replace it with a gentle, clear line. From here, we move this way. Clarifying next steps is also a form of kindness. When someone trusts you, they are not only trusting your words, they are trusting the direction you offer. And the direction does not need to be perfect. It only needs to be clear. Like guiding someone swimming in the dark ocean, they don't need the entire map. They just need a spot where their feet can touch the ground. In the deepest relationships, friendships, love, work partnerships, or the relationship you hold with yourself, clarity becomes a form of care. Not care through comfort, but care through orientation. Care through saying, "Let's take this step first." Like placing a gentle hand at someone's back during a storm and guiding them toward shelter. If you listen quietly, you can feel the smooth transition from part 12 to part 13. Part 12 clears away the noise. Part 13 sets the direction. And when simplicity and direction merge, the mind becomes like water, soft, clear, knowing where it is flowing. Now, in this warm stillness, as you listen to these words the way one listens to the night breathing through an open window, you may sense the next door opening. Part 14. Use deadlines smartly, where deadlines cease to be pressures and become instead another form of gentle clarity. Let us drift into that next chapter as water continues forward without effort, as we gently conclude part 13, where clarifying the next step became a small guiding lantern for a mind wandering through uncertainty. You may feel something soft settling within you, for once the first step is known, everything becomes lighter. Tension loosens, confusion dissolves, and what remains is a calm, clear stillness, like the surface of water freshly wiped clean of its faint layer of mist. And within that clarity, part 14 arrives as naturally as the next movement of breath. Use deadlines smartly. To hold deadlines not as a whip, not as a wall, but as a soft frame, a gentle rhythm, a tender reminder that the mind is still being guided without being constrained. In modern life, the word deadline often feels heavy, tied to pressure and urgency. Yet in applied psychology, a deadline, when used with subtlety, does not exist to enforce. It exists to liberate. A well-placed deadline does not drown us in anxiety. Instead, it dissolves ambiguity, softens mental load, and offers the mind a place to rest. It whispers, "You do not have to finish everything. You only need to complete this within this moment." And sometimes, such a gentle boundary is all a wandering heart needs to steady itself. Nietzsche once wrote in Twilight of the Idols, "The essential thing in heaven and earth is that there should be a long obedience in the same direction. A clear direction, a soft frame, and a steady step. That is enough for any human journey." A deadline is simply the frame that keeps the step from drifting off course. Imagine walking through a fog-covered path at dawn. If nothing is visible, fear rises, but if you see a small light glowing in the distance, you naturally move toward it. Deadlines work the same way. They are not meant to illuminate the entire path of your life. They only need to illuminate the small segment right in front of you. And as Marcus Aurelius reminds us in Meditations, do what's in front of you. A thoughtful deadline helps you know precisely what that in front of you is. Of course, not all deadlines are helpful. A forced one tightens the chest. One that is too distant encourages drift. One too close summons panic. The subtle deadline does not lie in the date. It lies in the way it is offered to the mind. It is gentle, like a soft nudge on the shoulder. Let's finish this by then, and if it becomes difficult, just tell me. Not a demand, but a shared rhythm. In communication, a smart deadline can change everything. Picture speaking with a colleague going through a fragile moment. Saying, "I need this now," shuts their heart instantly, but saying, "Could we finish this by afternoon?" Tell me if it feels heavy becomes a deadline with a pulse, and that pulse becomes trust. Even in intimate relationships, deadlines can heal. Two people drifting apart, conversations becoming thin, silence growing heavier. A deadline here is not pressure, but an anchor. Let's talk again tomorrow night. A simple sentence that functions like a thin, warm thread preventing two hearts from drifting too far from each other. In contemplative philosophy, a deadline is like a bowl, a shape that holds the water, not to restrict it, but to keep it from spilling everywhere. The deadline becomes the bowl of the mind, not to imprison, but to contain. Henry David Thoreau wrote in Walden, "Our life is frittered away by detail. Simplify, simplify." A subtle deadline is a form of simplification, not by removing tasks, but by choosing one task to place gently within time. The mind is not tired because of the work it holds. It is tired because of everything left undefined. A deadline is definition, and definition is relief. At its deepest level, a subtle deadline is a reminder that time is not for racing, but for breathing in rhythm. You do not need to move fast, only in direction, and when each stretch of your path has a soft milestone, your heart no longer feels lost. Think back to the nights when life felt like a field of fog, when you did not know where to begin, and notice how a single question, "What do we do first?" or "When should we try this?" could bring order back to your inner world. That is the essence of the gentle deadline. It does not push, it guides. And so from part 12, where simplicity created clarity, to part 13, where the next step offered grounding, we now enter part 14, where a subtle deadline becomes a quiet breath that carries you forward. 3 soft threads forming a single flow. Clear intention, clear direction, clear timing. And now, as this voice blends into the slow rhythm of your breath like morning mist dissolving into a still lake, another doorway appears. Part 15, Over-deliver once in a while, where we explore the quiet power of giving just a bit more than expected, not to impress, but to place a small warmth into someone's world. Let us drift there together as our journey gently closes. Part 14, where the subtle deadline became a steady breath, helping the mind keep its direction without being swallowed by pressure. You may feel a quiet ease spreading through your inner space. For when time stops being a burden and becomes a gentle companion, the path ahead feels flatter, brighter, easier to breathe upon. And within that tenderness, we enter Part 15 as naturally as the next step of a flowing river. Over-deliver once in a while, to occasionally exceed expectations, not to impress, not to prove anything, but to offer a small pulse of warmth to the world, making life softer, kinder, and more beautiful in the moments when others least expect it. In the art of human communication, exceeding expectations is not something to be done every day. If you do too much, you burn out. And if you try constantly, kindness turns into obligation. But once in a while, just once in a while, you take one light step beyond what someone anticipates, and that tiny step becomes a quiet imprint inside their heart. Not loud, not extravagant, not like a grand performance, but the kind of gesture that makes someone pause for a second, then slowly open inside, like a flower blooming in the dark. In The Gift, Lewis Hyde writes, "A gift is never just a gift. It carries the spirit of the giver. And indeed, when you exceed someone's expectation, what you offer is not merely an action. You offer your spirit, the best, softest, most sincere part of you. Others may forget your words, forget your actions, but they will never forget the feeling that someone gave them more than necessary. Humans live by feeling, not measurement. Think of the last time someone exceeded your expectation. Not with something grand, but with a gentle message arriving when you were exhausted, a small dish of food when you were too busy to care for yourself, or a compliment in a moment when your confidence wavered. That moment warmed your heart, not because of the content, but because you felt seen, and being seen is one of the most delicate gifts in life. If communication were music, then exceeding expectations gently would be the long, lingering note that makes the whole melody unforgettable. In a world where most people do only what is required, a small extra step, only a small one, can make you a point of light, not a blinding light of competition, but the warm glow that makes someone feel safe. Yet, over-delivering is an art requiring finesse. It must arise naturally, not forced, from willingness, not duty, from kindness, not strategy. When it becomes a tactic, it loses its beauty. But when it comes from the heart, it becomes the foundation of trust. Albert Camus wrote in The Stranger, "In the depth of winter, I finally learned that within me there lay an invincible summer. Sometimes, when you exceed someone's expectation, you offer them a glimpse of that invincible summer, a small source of light to help them walk through their private winter." Most communication follows familiar patterns. Predictable words, predictable responses, predictable emotional distance. And because of this sameness, a small unexpected gesture becomes profound. When someone asks for a small favor and you do just a bit more. When someone is sad and you don't stop at stay strong, but send a heartfelt message. When someone shares joy and you respond not with polite acknowledgement but with sincere celebration, these small things become lifelong moments in their memory. People do not remember perfect meetings. They remember unexpected warmth. The moment someone walked farther than they had to, gave time they didn't owe, or said something they did not have to say, but said with all sincerity. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Kindness is invincible. Kindness does not need to be large, only well-timed, only a little beyond what someone expects. Such kindness can slip past thick defenses, soothe old hurt, and mend what seemed impossible. In life, those who occasionally do a little more, not to be admired, but because their heart leans toward generosity, become the ones we trust most deeply. Not because they are perfect, not because they are powerful, but because they remind us that the world still holds gentle places. And now, in the quiet of the night, as these words melt into the slow rhythm of your breath like warm water, perhaps a memory stirs, a moment in which someone exceeded your expectation and warmed something fragile inside you. If such a moment exists, you already understand the essence of this chapter. From part 12, where simplicity clarified the mind, to part 13, where the next step brought orientation, to part 14, where a subtle deadline offered gentle rhythm, part 15 now arrives like a soft exhale of kindness, giving a little more, offering a little extra warmth, placing a small glow into someone's day. And as that warmth spreads quietly within you, blending into your breath, another door opens. Part 16. Admit ignorance fast, where we learn that saying "I don't know" is sometimes the purest form of maturity, sincerity, and human connection. Let the night carry us onward, as we gently close part 15, where the warmth of occasionally exceeding expectations offered the world small, tender moments of unexpected kindness. You may feel a soft energy spreading within you, forgiving a little more than required, not only warms others, but also lightens your own heart, as if it has just released a long-held breath. And within that softness, our journey steps into part 16 like a quiet breeze carrying deep honesty. Admit ignorance fast, the courage to say "I don't know" without delay. At first glance, it seems simple, yet in the human world, almost nothing simple remains truly simple, because "I don't know" is one of the hardest phrases to speak. It touches the ego. It brushes against our sense of vulnerability. It awakens the fear of being judged, diminished, or seen as inadequate. But for those who dare to say it immediately, the truth is that they do not become smaller. They become larger, wider, more genuine, and more connected. In Apology, Plato records Socrates saying, "I know that I know nothing." This was not self-deprecation, it was the height of wisdom. The more one knows, the more one sees the infinite vastness of what remains unknown, while those who know little often pretend to know much. This is the paradox of knowledge. True understanding makes one humble, while ignorance often breeds arrogance. In everyday communication, we often pretend. When we do not know, we act like we do. When we are unsure, we speak as if certain. When we do not understand, we nod to avoid judgment. But this pretense breaks connection. People sense it, not through words, but through intuition, through tone, through the subtle flicker of the eyes. And when they sense the performance, trust dissolves. Meanwhile, a simple "I'm not sure," spoken softly, honestly, without defense, can open an entirely different space. One of trust, sincerity, and human truth meeting human truth. Admitting ignorance quickly shows that we are not clinging to the illusion of omniscience, not building an image made of pretense, not centering the conversation around ego. Instead, we choose clarity, honesty, and inner simplicity, and this makes us more trustworthy. Imagine a simple conversation at work. Someone asks you something you do not yet know. If you pretend, the dialogue becomes cloudy, confusing, and eventually loses quality. But if you gently say, "To be honest, I'm not sure yet. Let me check and get back to you," no one judges you. Instead, they trust you more, because humans trust truth, even when truth is, "I don't know." Marcus Aurelius writes, If someone can show me that what I think or do is wrong, I will gladly change. This is not mere humility, it is the maturity of a mind willing to evolve. Those who can say I don't know are those who can learn. Those who learn never stagnate, and those who never stagnate continually widen their world. I don't know is also a form of freedom. For when we let go of the pressure to understand everything, to appear intelligent, to perform competence, the heart begins to breathe, allowed to be pure, real, unstrained. Nothing is more peaceful than absolute honesty, even when honesty reveals our lack of knowledge. In intimate relationships, I don't know can deepen closeness. Imagine speaking with someone you love. They share something tangled, painful. Instead of rushing into advice, you say, I don't know what to say right now, but I'm here. And in that moment, connection arises not from intellect, but from your purity of truth. In love and friendship, being right is rarely the point. Being real is. I don't know may be brief, but it carries much. The humility of the mind, the softness of the heart, the honesty of being human, the maturity of communication, the respect for the other, and the respect for oneself. To admit ignorance quickly is to be unafraid of appearing small, because you understand that true worth lies not in always being right, but in always being genuine. Psychology shows that humans trust those who admit faults or uncertainties more readily than those who perform perfection. Perfection creates distance. Sincerity creates closeness. Sometimes a simple "I don't know" allows someone to meet the real you, not the polished version, not the social mask, but the human beneath. In the quiet of night, as the layers of performance fall away, we see clearly that humans do not connect through certainty, but through shared vulnerability. I don't know is the doorway into that vulnerability. And if you listen closely, you can feel the continuity between part 15 and part 16. Part 15 teaches us to give a little more, the warm breeze that touches another heart. Part 16 teaches us to hold a little less, the drop of dew falling from a leaf, quiet, soft, true. One is the act of kindness. The other is the act of sincerity. Together, they form a person who is easy to trust. And as the softness of part 16 spreads into the air around you, while you listen to these words drifting like warm water through the night, the journey opens again. Part 17. Avoid jargon, where simplicity becomes the bridge through which minds meet without effort. Let your mind relax, and we will meet again in the next part. As we gently leave part 16, where the pure honesty of saying I don't know became a soft breeze sweeping away the dust of pretense, you may feel the subtle relief of a mind no longer needing to perform, no longer needing to prove, no longer needing to appear knowledgeable about everything. And within that softness, our journey leads us to a terrain very close yet often overlooked. Avoid jargon, the art of speaking simply, clearly, humanly. You may notice something interesting. Once you release the need to appear all-knowing, the desire to use large, complex, intellectual words naturally fades as well, because deep truths rarely need complicated language. In communication, jargon is like a wall of glass, polished, impressive, seemingly sophisticated, yet ultimately a barrier that separates people. The speaker may believe they are displaying intelligence, but the listener feels confused, hesitant to ask, or quietly withdrawn out of fear of being judged. Distance forms in the silence, connection breaks in the vocabulary, intimacy evaporates in the performance of expertise. From the beginning of humanity, the purpose of communication was never to showcase knowledge. It was to help two souls understand one another. Albert Einstein once said, "If you can't explain it simply, You don't understand it well enough. This is true not only in physics, but in emotion, in conversation, in every human relationship. Those who truly understand speak simply. Those who do not often use complex terminology to hide their uncertainty. In the quiet of this night, as these words flow gently through your mind, think about the last conversation in which you felt deeply connected to someone. Was it built on fancy words or on simple, honest ones? Perhaps it was something like "I understand," or "It's okay," or "Tell me more." These are the words that open the heart. Complex jargon often signals two things. Either the speaker is trying to prove something, or they're hiding a lack of confidence, and both push the listener away because no one wants to feel small, unqualified, or inadequate in a conversation. Humans want to sit with humans, not with dictionaries. Imagine confiding in a close friend about a difficult day and saying, "I'm experiencing emotional turbulence, anxiety spikes, cognitive overload." It sounds intelligent, but it moves you farther from the listener. But if you say, "I'm tired, I'm worried, I'm overwhelmed," their heart meets yours immediately. Not because the words are better, but because they are true. Truth opens, jargon closes. Socrates spoke using simple words: good, truth, soul, virtue. He did not hide wisdom behind complexity, because he understood that truth does not need heavy language. Truth speaks in simplicity. Avoiding jargon is also avoiding subtle power imbalances in communication, because language can be a tool, but it can also be a weapon. When someone uses overly technical terms, they create, often unintentionally, a sense that the conversation is no longer equal. The listener begins to think, "Maybe I'm not smart enough, I should stay quiet. Maybe I don't belong in this conversation." And so dialogue slowly dies inside polite silence. In Letters to a Young Poet, Rainer Maria Rilke urges the young writer to write from the deepest part of themselves, not to impress, not to please, but to speak as naturally as breathing. Jargon is not breath. Jargon is a mask. When you avoid jargon, you say, "We are equal. We are just two humans talking. You don't need to prove anything to me." And with that, the other person relaxes. They feel safe, they feel seen, they feel willing to stay. In intimate relationships, jargon is almost always a barrier. You don't say to someone you love, "I'm experiencing emotional dysregulation." You say, "I'm a bit shaken today." You don't say, "My psychological energy is depleted." You say, "I'm exhausted." Simplicity softens the heart in ways complicated language never can. And then something beautiful happens. When language becomes simple, connection becomes deep. When words become clear, hearts become visible. Like wiping the dust from a window, not to admire the glass, but to see the sky beyond it. And if you listen quietly, you will feel the continuity between part 16 and part 17. Part 16 teaches us to release ego through honesty. Part 17 teaches us to release complexity through simplicity. One is the truth of the inner self. The other is the truth of language. Together, they lead us back to purity, to the gentle atmosphere where human beings can sit with one another without effort, without masks, without distance. And as simplicity begins to settle into each breath you take, as language becomes light like silk drifting through the night, our journey softly opens into the next chapter. Part 18. Simplify your message, where we learn that the deepest truths are often the ones said with the fewest words. Like the moon, silent yet understood by all. Let the story guide you there. As we softly leave part 17, where you learn to step away from complicated jargon so communication can return to its true nature. Simple, transparent, deeply human. You may feel a gentle ease settling into your inner world, for when language no longer strains to prove anything, your mind grows lighter, your breath deepens, and the distance between you and another person narrows like two small flames leaning toward each other to share their light. And within this simplicity, we naturally enter Part 18, Simplify Your Message. Not a technique, but a philosophy, an invitation to return to the root of expression by saying less so, meaning can resonate more. We often confuse complexity with depth, yet the deepest truths are often the simplest ones. The moonlight, the wind, the words I am here with you. A single breath, unadorned, unforced, free of elaborate framing, yet capable of touching the soul in ways elaborate speech never could. In the Tao Te Ching, Lao Tzu writes, "Simplicity, patience, compassion. These three are your greatest treasures. Simplicity never lacks depth. It is what remains after all. Noise, all ornament, and all pretense have fallen away. Simplicity is essence. Complexity is often only paint." In communication, when your message grows too long, too detailed, too winding, the listener senses immediately that you yourself are not fully clear. For length is born from uncertainty, and complexity is born from incomplete understanding. But when you truly see your own meaning, language naturally contracts around it, the way water finds its path down a mountain. Not strained, not decorated, simply following its own nature. Einstein once said, "Everything should be made as simple as possible, but not simpler. Simple, but not shallow. Brief, but not stripped of soul. Clear, but never harsh." To simplify your message is not to weaken its depth, but to remove everything that does not belong to that depth. Imagine sharing something important with someone you love. You could explain at length, analyze every angle, offer every reason, yet most of the time, the only things the other person truly hears are your emotion and your essential meaning. "I need you" is stronger than a long explanation of loneliness. "I'm disappointed" is clearer than a speech about expectations. "I want us to understand each other more" reaches deeper than any analysis. Simplifying your message is not just a skill. It is an act of emotional respect. In meetings, emails, conversations, and vulnerable moments, you will notice that the shorter the message, the more easily it enters the other person's heart and mind. Everyone is tired. Everyone carries dozens of unresolved thoughts inside themselves. So when you simplify your message, you're doing something profoundly human. You lighten someone else's mental load, and in doing so, you make yourself more trustworthy, not because you speak beautifully, but because you speak clearly. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Let your speech be simple, not because simplicity is the prettiest form, but because it is the closest path between two souls." When you simplify your message, you send 3 signals at once. I understand what I am saying. I respect your mental space, and I want you to feel this rather than analyze it. And these 3 signals create a field of compassion between two human beings. In therapy, the most powerful sentences are often the shortest. "Are you okay? What made you sad? Do you want to say more? That must be heavy." Just a few words, yet each is a soft hand placed on the heart of the one speaking. When words shrink, the heart expands. Complexity is the voice of ego. Simplicity is the voice of wisdom. When we want to prove, we add more words. When we truly understand, we use only the necessary ones, like a sculptor who shapes beauty not by adding but by removing the excess. And now, in this quiet night, as the voice you are hearing flows through you like a slow stream, you can feel the continuity between Part 17 and Part 18. Part 17 teaches us to remove linguistic barriers, and Part 18 teaches us to open emotional space. One removes the wall, the other widens the room. Together, they form a lesson in inner clarity, not only of language, but of the heart itself. To simplify your message is also to simplify your life. When you understand what is essential, you naturally know what can be released, what no longer belongs to you, what you no longer need to carry. Simplicity becomes a night wind brushing through the mind, sweeping away fragments of worry and leaving behind a still lake. And now, as your breath eases into the steady rhythm of this narration, the next doorway opens. Part 19. Dress one notch above the room, where we explore how subtle, unshowy refinement in appearance can create an atmosphere of safety and respect for those around you. Let your mind drift gently, and we will meet again in the next part, as we gently close Part 18, where simplifying our message becomes a clear mirror reflecting the quiet sharpness of a decluttered mind. You may sense a soft light spreading within you, a light born from clarity. When words are made transparent, the heart becomes lighter. When messages become concise, emotional space expands, and within that spaciousness, we step naturally into Part 19, Dress one notch above the room. A reminder that how we present ourselves is not about performance, but about presence. This is not a lesson about clothing alone. It is a lesson about how we enter the world, about the energy we carry with us before we speak a single word. If Part 18 teaches the elegance of simplicity in language, then Part 19 teaches the elegance of simplicity in appearance, a subtle kind of care, not flashy but intentional, not loud but respectful, not extravagant but quietly refined. In human interaction, people often assume that impressions begin with what we say. In truth, impressions begin before speech, in the way we walk into a room, the softness of our expression, the quiet dignity of posture, the harmony of the colors we wear, the tiny details that the mind may overlook, but the heart notices immediately. In Thus Spoke Zarathustra, Nietzsche wrote, "What is done out of love always takes place beyond good and evil." When you dress one notch above the room, not to show off, not to inflate the ego, but to honor the space and the people in it, you are also acting from a quiet kind of love, a love expressed through presence. Imagine entering a room where everyone is dressed casually, a little unorganized, a little loose. If your appearance is just slightly more refined, not overly formal, not overly polished, just one level above, you send an unspoken message. I respect being here. I respect myself in this moment. No one feels overshadowed. No one feels you're trying to be more, but everyone senses a gentle tone of respect in how you carry yourself. In social psychology, this is sometimes called the slight edge of presence, the subtle advantage of intentional self-presentation. It does not create loud attention. It creates quiet credibility. It makes others more willing to listen, more willing to trust, more willing to relax around you, even if they cannot explain why. Marcus Aurelius once wrote in Meditations, "Let your actions speak with clarity. Your clothing is one of your quietest actions, a silent form of communication, a greeting before you ever speak." People who dress one notch above the room are not trying to impress. They are simply keeping the environment around them beautiful, beginning with themselves. And here lies a small truth of human nature. People feel safer around those who show subtle care in their appearance. Not luxury, not glamour, just care. A clean shirt, harmonious colors, neat lines, polished shoes, a calm posture. This kind of attention says, I arrived with intention. I am not here by accident. And this kind of intention naturally helps others feel grounded in your presence. In intimate relationships, dressing one notch above the room is also a form of care, not for the ego, but for the shared space between two people. You do not dress well for someone. You dress well because the moment you are about to share with them deserves respect. This, too, is a form of love. Clothing as meditation. When you straighten your collar, smooth a fabric, choose a color that calms the heart, you're bringing your mind into awareness. As the Zen teaching says, every small action can be a ritual, returning the mind to the present. Dressing becomes one such ritual, a way to meet life with clarity rather than accident. Think of the last time you dressed a little better than usual. Just a little. A better shirt, a cleaner pair of shoes, a gentle scent, a balanced outfit. Didn't you feel yourself standing a touch taller, speaking a touch clearer, moving with a touch more presence? Dressing one notch above the room is how we adjust the subtle atmosphere around us, that thin energy that others always feel before words are exchanged. As Khalil Gibran wrote in The Prophet, "Beauty is life when life unveils her sacred face." When you dress with subtle refinement, it is not material beauty you are showing. You are unveiling the quiet sacredness of intention, awareness, and respect toward life itself. From part 17, where we remove complicated jargon to avoid distance, to part 18, where we simplify messages to create clarity, and now part 19, where we simplify our appearance to create presence. These form a single stream, gentle, conscious, deliberate, but never forced. A stream that draws people closer, and if you listen carefully to the rhythm of this moment, you will notice dressing one notch above the room is not about standing out. It is about aligning with your best self, not too far above the space, not below your own dignity, just enough to honor the moment. And now, as your breath softens and your thoughts begin to blend into the quiet of this narration, another door quietly opens ahead. Part 20. Offer value first, a chapter where giving becomes a form of inner freedom, not obligation. Let the night carry us gently forward. We will meet again in the next part. As we close part 19, where the quiet elegance of being slightly more put together becomes a form of conscious presence, not to draw attention, but to send an invisible signal of respect, you may feel something very gentle unfolding within you. That when the outer appearance is cared for with subtlety, it does not turn you into someone else, but brings you closer to the most lucid version of who you already are. And within that lucidity, the journey leads us naturally into part 20. Offer value first, to give before expecting anything in return. Not as a strategy, not as a persuasion technique, not as a way to win favor, but as a philosophy of kindness, a posture of those who understand life, a way of entering the world with open hands, not to ask, but to offer. In a world of transactions where everything seems measured and weighed, giving first becomes a rare act, almost a luxury. But the truth is this: the one who gives first is the strongest. Because they do not wait for others to open their heart first. They do not wait for the world to treat them kindly before responding. They do not need guarantees of what they will receive. They give because it is their nature. Like a candle that, no matter whom it lights, illuminates its own room first. In The Prophet, Khalil Gibran wrote, "You give but little when you give of your possessions. It is when you give of yourself that you truly give." And the value here is not necessarily material. It can be a sincere piece of advice, a timely compliment, an understanding look, a small helping hand, an idea you share, a moment of your time, or simply a beautiful attitude you bring into a meeting. Anything born from the goodness within you is value. Before any relationship becomes lasting, the first ingredient is always giving. You offer a signal of sincerity. You offer listening. You offer kindness. You offer presence. You offer trust. Not to earn anything back, but because it is your way of telling the world, I didn't come here to take. I came here to help create something good. Many people enter interactions asking, what can I get from this? But those with deeper presence, those we naturally want to stay near, enter with the opposite question, what can I bring? And that reversal changes everything. In Eastern philosophy, giving first creates flow. When we give, energy moves freely. When we demand, energy becomes blocked. A spring never dries as long as it keeps giving water before it expects the rain. Humans are the same. When you offer value first, you send an unspoken message. You matter. I see you. I'm not here to calculate. And the strange thing is, the other person opens up more quickly, more deeply, more naturally. Not because they are manipulated, but because they feel the purity of your offering. In Meditations, Marcus Aurelius wrote, "What we do now echoes in eternity." A single, small act of giving always echoes. You may forget it, the receiver may forget it, but the world does not. Kindness does not disappear. It slips into another conversation. It opens a door you never expected. It returns in moments you cannot predict, not as mystical karma, but as the real resonance of human goodness. Offering value first is also a way of healing yourself, because whenever you give something beautiful, your heart does not shrink, it expands. And when the heart expands, fear withdraws. Expectation loosens. The ego softens. You stop living from a place of scarcity or defense. You begin living from a place of quiet fullness. Think back. When you helped someone without expecting anything, how did you feel? Not powerful in the egoic sense, but powerful in the inner sense. A calm, deep, luminous strength. That is the power of giving first. In social communication, offering value first is also the most reliable way to build trust. No one trusts those who only take. No one trusts those who only ask. No one trusts someone who speaks of collaboration but never offers anything. But everyone instinctively trusts the one who extends their hand first. They don't need to advertise themselves. Their actions speak. And as Marcus Aurelius wrote, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. To offer value first in a beautiful, sustainable way, you don't need to do anything grand. No impressive gifts, no excessive sacrifice. Simply ask yourself, today, can I make someone's life a little easier? Today, can I offer a kind word? Today, can I make the space I enter slightly brighter? That is the philosophy of those who know that giving first is the most beautiful way to live, not the most disadvantageous. If you listen closely to the rhythm of this journey, you'll feel the continuity between Part 19 and Part 20. Part 19 teaches conscious presence. Part 20 teaches intentional contribution. One beautifies the outer image. The other enriches the inner light. Together, they create the aura of someone who makes the world feel safer when they walk into a room. And now, as this narration begins to fade into a warm current flowing gently through your mind, another door opens in the quiet of the night. Part 21. Speak last in groups, where you learn to use silence as a form of soft power, not to dominate, but to deepen how others listen. Let your breath guide you, and we will meet in the next part, as we gently close Part 20, where the act of offering value first becomes a quiet beam of warmth flowing from the giver's heart into the receiver's. You may feel something deep settling inside you. That what makes a person trustworthy is not what they demand, but what they willingly give. That what softens the world is not grand declarations, but small acts of unconditional kindness. And within that softness, our journey leads us into part 21, a low, steady resonance in the music of the inner self. Speak last in groups, to let your words carry more weight. Not to appear wise, not to seize the floor, not to assert power, but to listen deeply before speaking, to understand others before expressing yourself, to let your words become the distilled result of observation, empathy, and maturity. In group conversations, many rush to speak out of fear of losing their place. Many talk excessively because they fear being forgotten. Many compete for attention because silence feels like invisibility. Yet the truth, in its quiet paradox, is this: the one who speaks last is often the one who is most respected. Because they are not hurried, they are not competing, they do not speak to be seen. They speak when their understanding is complete. And within that clarity, their words take on weight, not because they are louder, but because they are deeper. Marcus Aurelius once wrote in Meditations, "The opinion of 10,000 men is of no value if none of them know anything about the subject." Those who speak first are not always those who understand. Those who speak much are not always those who see clearly, but those who remain silent long enough to hear everything, who gather facts, emotions, and atmospheres, are often the ones who say what truly matters. Silence, in this context, is not timidity. Silence is wisdom in a resting state. One of the great skills of true leaders is allowing others to speak first. They do not interrupt out of ego. They do not conclude prematurely out of impatience. They let others reveal themselves, reveal their fears, their hopes, their biases, their vision. And only then, only after listening, do they speak. When they finally do, people naturally fall silent, not because they are dominated, but because they trust that this person has listened long enough to understand. To understand first and speak after. This is the essence of speak last. Speaking last also gives you an invisible advantage, the advantage of seeing the whole landscape. You sense who is anxious, who is excited, who is defensive, who speaks out of insecurity, who speaks out of a need to be acknowledged. And when your voice enters the room, it does more than express an opinion. It reflects the emotional truth of the entire group. It becomes a closing note that aligns the space. Kierkegaard once wrote, "Life can only be understood backwards, but it must be lived forwards." Speaking last mirrors this idea. You understand the arc of the conversation before contributing your final thread, and that last thread, placed gently, completes the tapestry. Imagine being in a meeting where people interrupt each other, where voices overlap, where ideas collide without merging. The air feels tense, heavy, competitive. Then, when everyone has exhausted their thoughts, you finally speak, slowly, clearly, precisely, like the last drop that fills the cup. Your voice feels grounded, your clarity cuts through the noise, your timing makes your words memorable. In psychology, this is related to the recency effect. People naturally remember what is said last. But here, we do not use that effect to manipulate. We use it to close the conversation with steady wisdom, like softly shutting a door to leave a room peaceful. Sun Tzu once wrote in The Art of War, "He who knows when he can fight and when he cannot will be victorious." In communication, the victory is inward. The victory of discipline over impulse, of presence over ego. Speaking last is not a tactic. It is a form of inner governance, a quiet authority in a world where many rush to be the loudest voice in the room. In intimate relationships, speaking last becomes even more essential. When your loved one is emotional, if you leap in too quickly, they feel unheard. If you argue immediately, they feel unseen. But if you wait, if you let them speak fully, if you let the storm blow through and only then say softly, "I hear you, and I'm here," their heart opens instead of contracting. In your silence, you are gathering yourself, filtering reaction from response, anger from truth, impulse from wisdom. The one who speaks last is not the slowest thinker. They are the clearest. They are the most grounded presence in the room. As we gently close part 21, where speaking last becomes an art of deep listening and mature wisdom, you may feel something very subtle unfolding within you. That intentional silence not only gives your eventual words more weight, but also steadies your mind, like a lake returning to stillness after a passing wind. From that quiet steadiness, the journey carries us naturally into part 22. Keep posture grounded. This is not the posture of pride, nor a stance of dominance, nor a rigid frame. It is the posture of someone whose inner world is settled, someone not easily shaken by the winds of life, someone whose very presence brings a sense of safety to those nearby. In communication, people often speak of words, eye contact, smiles. But there is something that occurs before all of that, before the first phrase, before even the first breath. Posture. How you stand, how you sit, how you place your hands, how your spine aligns, how your feet meet the ground. Posture is the story of the body, yet it reflects the story of the mind. A fearful mind collapses inward. A defensive mind tenses. An anxious mind wavers. But a grounded mind stands upright, not to impress, but to steady the currents within. Think back to the last time you stood near someone whose posture was firm, yet gentle. Not arrogant, not posturing, simply present in a way that felt deep. Did you notice that you breathed easier, that you slowed down a little, that a quiet ease settled over you? That is the power of grounded posture. It does not make others feel small, it makes them feel safe. In psychology, there is a phenomenon called non-verbal contagion, the quiet spread of emotion and energy through physical cues. In a room, one person's posture can shift the entire atmosphere. A nervous posture tightens the room. A rushed posture speeds the room, but a grounded posture calms the room. No request, no instruction, no explanation. Just presence, stabilizing the space. Grounded posture is not merely a communication skill. It is a meditation. It brings you back to your own body, your breath, your roots. A grounded posture has three elements: a vertical axis, the spine lifted by an invisible thread, a slow breath, steady and unforced, like a gentle tide, and grounded feet, resting firmly on the earth, like roots holding a tree upright in the wind. These are not only physical positions, they anchor the mind into the present moment. In Letters to a Young Poet, Rilke wrote, "Let everything happen to you, beauty and terror. Just keep going. No feeling is final. A grounded posture is exactly that. Keep going, a gentle continuation, not overwhelmed by emotion, not rushing to escape it. When you keep your posture grounded, you send a wordless message. I am here, fully. I am not swept away by chaos. I am steady enough for you if you need somewhere to lean. And humans, in their deepest nature, are drawn to those who carry that kind of steadiness. They feel calmer. They slow down. They feel seen without being judged. They feel allowed to simply be. Grounded posture is also a form of soft power, not the power of domination, not the power of volume, but the power of inner solidity. People with grounded posture do not need to shout, do not need to overpower, do not need to seek attention. Their posture already says, "I know who I am," and that self-knowledge makes others naturally listen. Imagine walking into a tense meeting, voices raised, arguments overlapping, tension thick in the air. You have two choices: merge into the chaos or hold your ground. If you choose roundedness, you become an anchor for the room, not because you are stronger, but because you are not swept away by the storm around you. You stand firm, and from that firmness, your mind remains clear, and from that clarity, your words remain precise. Grounded posture, grounded mind, grounded words. This is the flow of an inwardly mature human being. In intimate relationships, grounded posture is even more powerful. When someone you love is anxious, what do they need most? Not advice, not analysis. They need you to remain steady while they shake. They need you to be the anchor, not reactive, not collapsing, not spiraling with them. When you hold your posture, both body and mind, you are saying with your presence, "Let me hold the rhythm." You just breathe, and there is no message deeper than that. As we gently close part 22, where a grounded posture becomes a quiet form of meditation that helps us stand like a rooted tree amid the unpredictable winds of life, you may feel something deep settling within you. When body and mind are anchored, the outside world suddenly feels less frightening. Others may rush, panic, or erupt with emotion, yet you remain the still point in the room. And from that stillness, the journey opens into part 23 like a soft doorway unfolding in the night. Use yes and expand instead of rejecting. This is not just a communication technique. It is a way of approaching the world, a philosophy of how dialogue survives, a small bridge that can turn a tense exchange into a gentle stream of understanding. In life, we are taught how to argue, how to reject, how to find flaws in what others say, but rarely are we taught how to walk alongside their words, to expand rather than shut down. No, but is the way to block the river. Yes, and is the way to keep it flowing. When we say no, the conversation stops. When we say yes, and the conversation rises to a new layer. It is the difference between conflict and connection, between walls and bridges. In the art of improv, the first and most essential rule is yes, and actors are not allowed to deny anything their partner has said. No matter how absurd, unexpected, or strange it is, they must say yes and build upon it, because a single no can collapse the entire scene. Humans are the same. One act of rejection can break a beautiful moment of connection. Carl Rogers, the father of humanistic therapy, once wrote, "When someone really hears you without passing judgment, it is like oxygen for the soul." Yes, and is the embodiment of that oxygen. It tells the other person, "I hear you. I'm not denying you. What you say has value, and I want to walk with you a little further." This is nourishment for every relationship. Imagine sharing something vulnerable, and the other person responds with, "No," but immediately you feel blocked, corrected, judged, dismissed. But if they say, "Yes, and I think maybe," or "I understand," and here's another piece, you suddenly feel invited into a shared space instead of pushed away. That is the quiet miracle of yes and. In intimate relationships, this becomes even more profound. If your partner says, "I felt like you were distant today," and you reply, "No, I wasn't," a wall appears instantly. But if you say, "Yes, and I think I was tired today. I'm sorry if that affected you," then no one wins or loses. Two people simply meet each other in truth. In existential philosophy, Martin Buber spoke of the I-thou relationship, meeting the other as a subject, not an object to correct or oppose. Yes and is the living spirit of I-thou. It lets us meet people as they are, not as we want them to be. In creative and professional spaces, yes and creates collaboration instead of competition. It says, let's build together, let's make this better. Instead of shutting down ideas, we deepen them. Instead of destroying, we construct. No, but triggers defensiveness. Yes and opens the mind. In Letters to a Young Poet, Rilke wrote, "Try to love the questions themselves. Yes and is how we love the imperfect beginnings of someone's thought, the half-formed words, the emotional fragments they offer. Not to judge them, but to help them unfold." The power of yes and comes from two simple movements. First, acknowledgement, because no one likes being dismissed, and everyone longs to be seen. Yes is the key that opens the door. Second, expansion, because creativity cannot survive where rejection lives, and is the open field beyond that door. Imagine a team discussion where someone suggests an incomplete idea. Most people instinctively react with, "That won't work, too difficult, not logical." The idea dies. The room tightens. But if someone says, "Yes, and if we also try," the atmosphere shifts instantly. The idea breathes again. The person softens. The group opens. In relationships, whether romantic, familial, or friendships, yes and can dissolve countless misunderstandings. It is not submission. It is not weakness. It is not losing your viewpoint. It is choosing connection over victory. Understanding over rebuttal. Openness over closure. It is choosing to build a bridge instead of a wall. As we gently close part 23, where yes and becomes a soft bridge bringing two minds closer, not clashing, not denying, simply expanding, supporting, and walking together, you may feel that the space of dialogue has widened. Like the sky after rain, the clouds dissolve, the air clears, sounds travel further, and every thought suddenly has more room to breathe. In that spaciousness, the journey carries us into part 24. Avoid filler words. Avoid small verbal fillers like the tiny sounds we use to plug empty spaces without noticing, yet they blur, dull, and weaken the weight of what we truly want to say. This is not merely a speaking technique. It is a lesson in presence, in how we face silence, in whether we can accept an empty space without rushing to fill it. When we say or what are we really doing? We are filling a void, covering hesitation, covering a small fear. Fear of being judged, fear of silence, fear of losing momentum, fear of not controlling the conversation. But the deeper truth is this: those empty spaces are where thinking takes shape. Those empty spaces are what give words their value. A sentence without pauses is a river stuffed with stones it cannot flow. A sentence packed with fillers is like a song cluttered with wrong notes. It loses harmony. Avoiding filler words, therefore, is not about speaking faster, stronger, or perfectly. It is about trusting silence. In Meditations, Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Let silence be your general rule, or say only what is necessary." He did not say speak little. He said speak what is necessary. And silence, when chosen intentionally, is part of what is necessary. Many people see silence as an uncomfortable interruption, but silence is only uncomfortable when we are not familiar with being present in it. When the mind is steady enough, silence becomes the place where thought clarifies. When the heart is calm enough, silence becomes where emotion settles. When the speaker is awake enough, silence becomes a meaningful punctuation mark. Most great communicators and leaders share one trait. They are not afraid of silence. Imagine an important conversation. You're about to say something meaningful. If you sprinkle filler words in between, the message loses sharpness. So I guess maybe the point is, each filler word is like a thin fog dimming the clarity of your sentence. But if you simply breathe, keep your rhythm, look into the other person's eyes, and say clearly, I think the most important thing is, in that moment, they can feel your mind is truly present. And when the mind is present, words carry weight. In Letters to a Young Poet, Rilke wrote of creative hesitation, those moments of pause when the mind searches for the right word, which are in fact moments of deep inner work. Yet we often refuse to allow those moments. We cover them with filler sounds instead of honoring them as part of the process of finding truth. If we allow silence, if we do not rush to cover it with clarity emerges more naturally, and the listener trusts us more. Avoiding filler words is not about forcing yourself to sound perfect. It is about training the heart to rest in a brief moment without running. When you pause without filler, you send a message. I'm thinking sincerely, not rushing. I respect your question. I want to say something meaningful. No filler needed, only breath. In meditation, each breath is a place for the mind to rest. The pause between two breaths is where the mind settles. Communication is the same. The pause between two sentences is where meaning settles. When we fill that pause with we dilute focus. When we hold that pause with breath, we strengthen presence. Imagine a manager delivering something important. If he speaks non-stop, cluttered with fillers, chasing his own thoughts, the room feels chaotic. But if he speaks slowly, clearly, without fillers, the room quiets. Eyes turn toward him, not because he is loud, but because he speaks from awareness. Avoiding filler words is also a form of respect. We do not force the listener to filter noise from meaning. We give them the sentence whole, clear, distilled, like offering a glass of water already settled, so they don't need to wait for the sediment to fall. In love and intimacy, this becomes even deeper. When you say something important, I'm sorry. I miss you. I understand. You're tired, aren't you? Say it with your heart. No filler, no sound to hide behind, no effort to mask the pause. The moment after the sentence, the quiet moment without fillers, is where connection reaches its deepest point. As we gently close part 24, where avoiding filler words allows your speech to become clearer, slower, and more complete, you may notice that your space of communication has shifted just a little, as though the thin layers of mist covering your thoughts have begun to dissolve, leaving behind an atmosphere where each idea can breathe, each sentence can land softly, and each pause is honored. From within that quiet clarity, the journey leads us into part 25. Share credit generously. And here we arrive at a beautiful intersection of the dark social hacks, because someone who knows how to share credit does more than build goodwill. They plant into the world a rare kind of humility, a kind of power that needs no spotlight, a kind of wisdom that does not grasp, a kind of light that never pushes but travels far. Human beings are deeply sensitive to recognition. A timely thank you, a sincere acknowledgement, even a brief look of appreciation can warm the heart more than a candle burning in the dark. And the interesting truth is this: the person who shares credit is remembered far longer than the one who tries to keep it. When you say, because of you, this worked, or this idea truly came from her, or he helped me more than anyone, you do not shrink. You grow. Quietly, steadily. Because credit, when shared, never decreases. It multiplies in the hearts of others in memory. in trust. In Meditations, Marcus Aurelius wrote, "What is not good for the beehive cannot be good for the bee." No achievement truly belongs to one person. We are all lifted by invisible hands. A piece of advice, a gesture of help, a stroke of luck, an opportunity, someone believing in us before we believed in ourselves. Sharing credit is simply aligning ourselves with reality, the reality that every success is a collective echo. To share credit is not only an elegant act, it is the art of someone who understands the nature of power. It is the insecure who cling to recognition. The mature understand that sharing credit creates even greater resources in the future. When you freely acknowledge others, they naturally want to work with you, support you, trust you, not because you manipulate them, but because you speak to something fundamental in human nature. Everyone wants to be seen, to be valued, to be appreciated. Imagine a meeting. You could say, "I completed this." Or you could say, "We accomplished this because the team supported one another." 2 sentences, 2 worlds. One world closes, the other opens. And in that second world, people feel they belong. That is where the best relationships grow. In Letters to a Young Poet, Rainer Maria Rilke encouraged us to live the questions now. Sharing credit generously is living a deeper question. Whose value can I illuminate today? Because each time you share credit, you return to someone the right to be seen, one of the deepest human longings. Not power, not victory, not superiority, but visibility. Generous credit giving also heals the self. For when you acknowledge others, you loosen the grip of the ego, the part of you that wants to hold, to keep, to own. And when the ego loosens, a doorway of peace opens. In love and family, sharing credit can soften invisible wounds. Consider something as simple as, "The home feels warm because of you," or "You've worked hard, thank you," or "I'm proud of you for trying today." These words do more than acknowledge effort. They connect. They wrap gently around the heart. They say, "You matter, you're seen, you're appreciated." And that heals more than any gift. In the workplace, shared credit is the leadership of kindness. A good leader knows that the more widely light is shared, the brighter it becomes. The more you lift others, the more you are lifted, not through competition, but through trust. From trust, real power emerges, not the power of control, but the power of respect. In Eastern philosophy, there is a beautiful image, the bamboo. Bamboo rises high, yet never forgets its root. It is strong, yet never stands alone. It bends, yet always reaches upward with the wind. Sharing credit is like the bamboo's gentle bough, not out of weakness, but because its strength is so effortless, it no longer needs to stand rigid to prove anything. As we gently close part 25, where sharing credit generously becomes a quiet light that spreads outward, you may notice that your mind has softened a little. When we are spacious enough to lift others up, we also, almost unconsciously, lift ourselves into a deeper layer of maturity. And within that soft depth, the world feels less tense, and the sharp corners of the ego seem to round themselves just a little. From that sense of roundedness, the journey leads us into part 26, a lesson that makes no noise yet holds the power to turn conflict into a bridge. Use help me understand, to transform confrontation into collaboration. This is not a negotiation tactic, not a psychological trick, not a maneuver to gain advantage. It is an invitation, a door opening, a gesture of humility, an expression of inner wisdom, for only someone grounded enough can ask to understand. Most conflicts in life do not arise from malice. They arise from misunderstanding. You see something from your angle. The other person sees it from theirs, and 2 lenses collide, not because the truth is different, but because the viewpoints have not yet aligned. A simple, "help me understand," is like rotating the lens ever so gently, and suddenly the world becomes clearer. In Meditations, Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If someone is mistaken, teach them kindly and show them the truth. But if you cannot, remember that the fault is also in yourself." This is the spirit of "help me understand." It says, I am not assuming you are wrong. I'm not assuming I'm right. I am not here to attack. I'm here to understand. And when two people lay their egos down long enough to understand each other before trying to correct each other, confrontation transforms into dialogue. Imagine an argument. Voices raised, air thick, heartbeats fast, faces flushed with tension. In the middle of it you say, "Help me understand why this matters so much to you." Or, "Help me understand what made you feel that way." Or even, "Help me understand what you need from me right now." In that moment, it is as though you drop a stone into turbulent water. Everything begins to settle. It is no longer two egos colliding. It is two minds trying to see the same picture. Strangely, when you ask to understand, the other person becomes easier to understand. Not because they change, but because their defensiveness softens. They no longer need to protect their position. They no longer feel attacked. They sense safety in your question. And when the heart feels safe, it tells the truth. In psychology, this is known as disarming by curiosity, melting defensiveness through sincere interest. When you seek understanding, you stop fighting. When you stop fighting, the other person stops bracing for war. Curiosity thaws the ice. Curiosity opens the heart. Curiosity turns conflict into conversation. In Letters to a Young Poet, Rilke wrote, "Be patient toward all that is unsolved in your heart, and try to love the questions themselves." Help me understand is a way of loving the questions, loving what is unclear, loving what is unfinished, loving even the shadows in someone's words that you cannot yet comprehend. Instead of judging what you do not know, you open the door for it to enter and become part of your awareness. In intimate relationships, this phrase is even more powerful. When the person you love says something that stings, instead of reacting, you might say, "Help me understand how that made you feel." Or, "Help me understand what you're afraid of right now." These phrases are like laying a soft rug for them to step onto, a place where they feel safe enough to tell the truth. No more battle. No more guard. Just one heart stepping toward another. In work settings, "Help me understand" turns confrontation into collaboration naturally. Instead of, "That idea won't work," you say, "Help me understand what potential you see in this direction." Instead of, "I disagree," you say, "Help me understand the reasoning behind your choice." The other person opens. The flow of ideas loosens. No one is diminished. No one is dismissed. And something new can emerge in the space between. Saying, "Help me understand," is also a way of reminding yourself that you do not know everything, the humility of a lifelong learner. As Socrates said in Apology, "I know that I know nothing." Not a statement of inferiority, but the maturity of wisdom, the understanding that understanding itself is a journey. There is a lovely image in Eastern philosophy. A teacup can only be filled when it is not already full. When you say, "Help me understand," you are emptying your teacup just enough for someone else's truth to enter. A person who lives this way will never run dry, for their mind is always spacious enough to welcome new insight. As we close part 26, where "Help me understand" opens a gentle doorway that melts confrontation into dialogue, you may feel that something has shifted inside your own communication space. less tension, less judgment, less defensiveness. Like a room that has just opened its windows to the first light of morning, the air becomes warmer, softer, easier to breathe. And within that softened atmosphere, the journey brings us to part 27. Reflect back key phrases, offering the speaker their own truth in clearer form. A gesture that seems small, yet carries immense healing power. A skill that appears simple, yet forms the foundation of every profound conversation. A kind of touch that happens not through hands, but through listening. In a world where people speak more than they hear, listening is already rare. Deep listening is even rarer. But listening so deeply that you can reflect back the essence of what someone truly meant, that is rare enough to be precious. Because when you repeat their words back to them, so you feel like you're not being valued. You mean you're afraid no one really understands you? You're saying this situation makes you feel powerless? What you are offering is more than language. You are offering recognition. It is your way of saying, I hear you. I understand what you're trying to express. You are not alone in this experience. In Letters to a Young Poet, Rainer Maria Rilke wrote, "For one human being to love another, that is perhaps the most difficult of all our tasks. And to love, in any meaningful, expansive sense, we must learn to understand. To understand, we must learn to listen, and to let someone know that we are truly listening, we must learn to reflect. Not reflecting mechanically, but reflecting like a mirror. A mirror clear enough to show the other person their inner world without distortion. When you reflect back the heart of what they said, you help them see their own emotions with more clarity. Often, the speaker does not fully understand what they are trying to express. Their feelings swirl, vague, tangled, unshaped. But when you say, gently and deliberately, so what you're afraid of is being left behind, right? Or you're hurt because what you hoped for wasn't met. You're not merely repeating, you are illuminating, offering a subtle kind of guidance, helping them recognize what they already feel. In psychotherapy, this kind of reflection is one of the most powerful tools for connection and healing. Carl Rogers called it active empathetic listening. He wrote, "When I have been listened to, and when I have been heard, I am able to reperceive my world in a new way and go on." Reflection helps the speaker go on because they are no longer trapped inside unnamed emotions. Reflection gives emotion a name, and whatever has a name no longer imprisons us. In everyday communication, reflecting key ideas is how you help others feel deeply understood. And the feeling of being understood is one of the most powerful sensations in the human heart. Stronger than praise, stronger than approval. When someone feels understood, they open, they trust, their defenses lower, and the conversation moves into the terrain of intimacy, the intimacy of soul to soul. Think back to a moment when you shared something painful and someone said, "So that made you feel like you weren't important." Didn't your heart soften? Didn't you feel seen, touched at the exact string that was trembling inside you? That is the power of reflection. In romantic relationships, reflection becomes the bridge across turbulent emotional waters. When your partner says, "I feel like you don't care anymore," instead of reacting or explaining, you say, "So you're feeling forgotten, is that right?" And in that moment, they exhale. Yes, that's exactly it. You have carried the conversation from the surface layer of complaint into the deeper layer of truth. In work settings, reflection builds trust just as powerfully. When a co-worker says they're overwhelmed, you don't jump into solutions. You say, "You're worried because things feel out of control, right?" And suddenly, you're on the same side, not standing across from them, but beside them. The two of you shift from fighting the problem separately to facing the problem together. In Eastern philosophy, there is a beautiful image, a mirror that keeps no image. It simply reflects, allowing the viewer to see themselves clearly. Then the image fades, and the mirror returns to its natural clarity. Reflection in communication is the same. You do not hold their emotions. You do not judge them. You do not add or subtract. You simply reflect, pure enough for them to see themselves. As we close part 27, where reflecting back the speaker's key phrases becomes a clear mirror through which two hearts can see each other more truthfully, you may feel a deeper layer of connection settling quietly inside you. Because when we repeat someone's words with gentleness, we are not merely echoing language. We are offering our full presence. And from that presence, something natural arises. The mind softens. When the mind softens, life feels lighter. And when life feels lighter, stress loses its ability to pull us into impulsive reactions. From this stillness, the journey carries us to part 28. Stay unreactive under stress. One of the hardest, yet most beautiful arts in all 30 traits of dark social intelligence. Anyone can be gentle on a peaceful day. Anyone can speak slowly when the heart is calm. Anyone can be kind when everything goes their way. But only the souls who have undergone inner forging can remain steady in a storm, stay centered when attacked, keep their breath steady when life tightens, keep their heart warm when circumstances grow cold. This is the mark of depth, the kind of presence that softens an entire room by simply existing in it. In Meditations, Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment." He did not say to avoid stress. He reminded us that stress cannot harm you unless your mind reacts to it. The event is just an event. It is your reaction that creates pain. Staying calm is not pretending everything is fine. It is recognizing that you have the power not to be swept away by the chaos of the moment. When stress arises, the human mind tends to fall into 3 instincts: attack, striking back, anger, defensiveness, withdraw, shutting down, going silent, numbing out, over-explain, trying to control the situation through words. But being unreactive is a 4th path. A path of maturity, mastery, and quiet strength. It is when you refuse to chase the wave. You anchor yourself at the ocean floor, where the waves cannot reach you. Imagine being in a tense meeting. Someone attacks you unexpectedly. Eyes turn toward you. The air thickens. If you react instantly, snapping back, defending, justifying, you lose your center. But if you breathe, look at them with calm eyes, and say slowly, "Give me a moment to understand what you're saying more clearly." The room shifts, the energy shifts, a soft power appears, the power of someone who cannot be thrown off balance. No one wins more profoundly than the person who stays calm when the world wavers. In Thus Spoke Zarathustra, Nietzsche wrote, "All truly great thoughts are conceived while walking." Walking here is not just physical movement. It is the inner pacing of the mind, the refusal to let emotional turbulence dictate action. Only when the mind walks slowly do we see the whole landscape. And only when we refuse to react immediately do our words gain real weight. Those who stay unreactive tend to share 3 qualities. 1. They breathe before they speak. Breath is the border between instinct and wisdom. One deep breath can change an entire conversation. 2. They observe their emotions, not suppressing them, not exploding with them, simply watching like clouds drifting across the sky. 3, they choose responses, not reactions. They speak when they understand. They answer when they have clarity. They respond with intelligence, not adrenaline. These qualities form a quiet kind of magnetism, a subtle power that does not need force. In intimate relationships, uncreativeness is even more essential. When the person you love lashes out, they are not truly attacking you. They are signaling distress, a wound that has not yet been named. If you react, 2 storms collide. If you stay calm, 1 storm dissolves. You can say softly, "I can see you're hurting. Give me a moment. Let me understand you fully before we continue." This is not avoidance. This is holding a safe space for both hearts. In psychology, there's a concept called affect labeling. Naming an emotion reduces its intensity. To name an emotion, you must first stop reacting. When you are calm, you can say, "I think I'm feeling cornered. Maybe I'm scared I'll fail. Maybe I'm worried I'm not enough." The moment you name the feeling, it loses half its power, because anything that is named cannot rule you. Staying calm under stress is not emotional numbness. It is standing at a small distance from your emotions, so they cannot control you. Like standing before a fire, you do not jump into it. You step back, see it clearly, and choose your next action wisely. A person who can feel deeply and still remain centered. That is true maturity. As we close part 28, where calmness under pressure becomes a quiet inner strength, not flashy, not reactive, simply anchoring yourself into the still point within, you may feel that your mind has widened just a little. As though, after a storm, the lake is no longer breaking into waves, only soft ripples shimmering beneath a peaceful sky. And from that serene surface, the journey moves into part 29. Avoid gossip, refraining from speaking ill of others. A lesson that seems simple, yet is one of the most subtle pillars of character and emotional maturity, because true growth cannot coexist with the habit of wounding others behind their backs. Gossip is a kind of dark electricity in social life, quick to spread, easy to crave, giving a brief illusion of belonging, of superiority, of safety. But that safety is false, that warmth is false, and that connection is false. Like sitting beside a fire made of dry straw, it flares fast, dies fast, and fills the room with smoke that stings the eyes of everyone nearby. Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." And gossip almost always falls into one of 2 categories, either untrue or unnecessary. It does not make us stronger. It only shrinks us in ways we cannot see. And the sadder truth is this: the person who listens to you gossip today will wonder what you say about them tomorrow. Trust, once shaken, is not easily rebuilt. Gossip wounds 3 people at once. The one spoken about, who silently absorbs harm with no chance to defend themselves. The listener, who is pulled into negativity that does not belong to them. And the speaker, who stains their own integrity. It is a transaction in which no one truly wins. Its only reward is a brief feeling of being above someone, but its cost is long-term respect. Nietzsche wrote in Human, All Too Human, "Talking much about oneself can also be a means to conceal oneself, and talking badly about others is the same, a way to hide our uncertainties by pointing at the flaws we imagine in someone else. But wounds do not heal by hurting others. Fear does not vanish by judging others. Insecurity is never cured by tearing someone down. Gossip comforts the ego for minutes, but burdens the soul for days." When we avoid gossip, we are not only protecting our own character, we are preserving a clean emotional atmosphere between ourselves and others. Imagine every conversation as a room. Every kind word and gentle thought is like opening the window to let in sunlight. Every piece of gossip is like burning paper inside a closed space. It fills the air with smoke, and soon no one wants to stay in that room. In intimate relationships, gossip quietly erodes trust. When you speak badly about others to someone you love, they do not see you as strong. They see you as insecure, as someone who might one day turn those words against them. Real closeness is not built by bonding over negativity, but by protecting kindness in the stories you share. In the workplace, the person who avoids gossip is always respected, not because they are soft, not because they are naive, but because they understand a deeper truth. Reputation comes not from what you say about others, but from how others feel when they speak about you. Those who avoid gossip become safe spaces. People speak more freely around them, more honestly, with less fear of invisible judgment. And in that safety, trust grows. Rainer Maria Rilke wrote, "Be patient with all that is unsolved in your heart." And gossip truly comes from the unsolved places within us. The frustrations we never voiced, the wounds we never tended, the comparisons we never admitted, the insecurities we tried to bury. If we learn to sit with these unsolved parts of ourselves, we will no longer need to release them through rumor or criticism. We will choose silence, or even better, choose words that uplift. Social psychology teaches a subtle truth. You cannot speak badly about someone without damaging your own image in the eyes of the listener, because they will inevitably wonder, if you talk about them like that, what do you say about me? And at that moment, trust begins to tremble. Avoiding gossip does not mean being rigid or self-righteous. It means choosing kindness as a standard, choosing words with intention, choosing to preserve the light within yourself and within others. You do not need to scold those who gossip or offer moral lectures. Simply redirect the conversation, like pulling open a curtain to let the light in, as we gently close part 29, where the lesson of avoiding gossip becomes a soft reminder to keep both our words and our hearts clean. You may feel a subtle ease spreading through your inner world. Because when we no longer release harmful whispers into the world, the mind becomes wider, clearer, like a room whose windows have finally been opened after years of being shut. From that clarity, the final chapter of our journey unfolds. Part 30. Ask, how can I support? The art of asking for what someone truly needs, not asking for appearance, not asking to seem kind, not asking to gather information, asking to truly show up, asking to offer a kind of support that advice alone can never provide, asking to say, I am here for you in the way you need, not in the way I assume you should need. In a world where everyone wants to talk, advise, fix, correct, and solve, the question, how can I support, arrives like a rare breeze. Gentle, humble, profoundly human. It does not assume that we understand the other person. It does not impose what we believe is best for them. It does not make the self the center of the moment. Instead, it gives power back to the one who is hurting, allowing them to voice what they truly long for. This is the purest form of respect. Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, "Be tolerant with others and strict with yourself. How can I support?" is the living spirit of that tolerance. It places their needs before our interpretations. It is an invitation. Tell me how I can step into your world without causing you more pain. It is the art of accompanying without overtaking, helping without controlling, loving without suffocating. We often make a very human mistake. When someone is sad, we try to fix them. When they are anxious, we try to calm them. When they are disappointed, we try to make them see the bright side. But sometimes the hurting person does not need fixing. They need presence. The anxious person does not need reassurance. They need a place to rest. The disappointed person does not need analysis. They need acknowledgement. And "how can I support?" opens exactly that space. Imagine someone you love is crying. You could rush to hug them. You could say comforting words. You could try to make them smile. But you could also ask in a soft voice, "What can I do for you right now?" That question does not force them to be strong. It does not deny their pain. It does not seize control of the moment. It simply says, "I am here, and I want to be here in the way you need most." That is love in its deepest form. Rainer Maria Rilke once wrote in Letters to a Young Poet, "I want to be with those who know secret things, or else alone." These secret things are not personal secrets. They are the subtle forms of connection, the shared silences, the moments when two souls touch without needing many words. "How can I support?" is one of those secret things, a key to deeper intimacy. In communication, this question has an unexpected power. It dissolves conflict. When someone is angry, hurt, or overflowing with emotion, you might say, "I hear you're upset. How can I support?" Anger melts instantly, because anger only survives when it meets resistance. When you stop resisting and instead open the door, it has nowhere left to cling, and so it falls away. This question transforms battleground into bridge, confrontation into collaboration, tension into safety. In professional settings, "How can I support?" shows that you are not here to command, to judge, or to demand, but to accompany. Colleagues trust you more. Teams respect you more. Partners open up to you more, not because you are perfect, but because you offer what most people forget to give. Support shaped around their real needs, not the egos. Eastern philosophy offers a beautiful image. Bamboo does not support others through rigidity, but through the gentle strength of bending. How can I support? Is that bend a small motion that creates a great space of safety? If you listen closely to the flow of this journey, you will see the perfect continuity between Part 29 and Part 30. Part 29 teaches us not to cast shadows onto others. Part 30 teaches us how to place light exactly where others need it. One is restraint, the other is generosity. One keeps the tongue clean, the other uses the tongue to heal. This is the final circle of dark social intelligence. And now, as the voice softens into a whisper, as the night folds itself around you, as every cell in you begins to slow and loosen, let me offer you this. How can I support? Is not only for others, it is a question you can offer yourself. On long nights, on heavy days, on quiet moments when something inside you feels tired. How can I support myself right now? Maybe you need rest. Maybe you need to cry. Maybe you need to forgive yourself. Maybe you need to allow yourself to be soft. Supporting yourself is as sacred as supporting others. And so we arrive at the end of all 30 parts, a journey not meant to make you perfect, but present. Not invincible, but sincere. Not distant, but connected. Not loud, but deeply steady in a noisy world. If you can, close your eyes for a moment. Feel the breath. Feel the lightness in your chest. Feel the quiet that has settled somewhere gently within you. And remember, you're not walking alone. I am here with you in this quiet night, in this soft unfolding, on this journey toward peace. One word, one insight, one breath at a time.